Chapter 858. King Jianan said, "Everything is up to you. I'm ready. In the middle of the night the day after tomorrow, we will open the space seal sealing the alien demon world. At that time, thousands of alien demon tribe troops will pass through the passage and descend on Earth. After preparing for so many years, we are finally going to succeed. Just thinking about it makes me excited," the alien demon emperor said excitedly. "At that time, we will be the masters of this land, and we won't have to stay on this island anymore. There will be no human beings in this world, and it will belong to us." King Jianan was also very excited. "Brother, what do you think we should do now?" The alien demon emperor said, "Take your men to the north of Huaxia now. Tomorrow night, bring the virus bomb to the top of Mount Tai and detonate it. This virus bomb was specially developed in our laboratory. As long as it can be successfully spread, we will harvest millions of ghosts. Use the ghost bottle to collect these souls. At midnight the day after tomorrow, when the yin qi is the strongest, we will use these ghosts to break the seal left by those Huaxia people. We will open the passage in one fell swoop and lead our people to come." King Jianan said, "Brother, I still don't understand. We can also get millions of ghosts in the west. Why do we have to go to Huaxia?" A fierce look flashed across the alien demon emperor's face. "These damn seals were made by the ancestors of the Huaxia people. Today, I will make their descendants pay the price." "Got it, brother. I'll do as you say." After that, King Jianan disappeared from the big screen, and the video call was turned off. A cold look flashed across Qin Haodong's face. They actually wanted to carry out a massacre in Huaxia. He could not let them succeed no matter what. After getting this important information, he immediately returned to Huaxia on his flying sword, and returned to the Tang sect when the sun rose in the east. After returning, he once again urgently summoned Shi Yumi, Xianyuan Ligay, and the others to the Tang sect, and told them that the alien demons were about to take action in Huaxia. The Zihong Sword House had shouldered the responsibility of protecting Huaxia for thousands of years. When Xianyuan Ligay heard the news, she immediately stood up and said, "The Xianyuan Pavilion will take action immediately. We must eliminate these alien demons." Shi Yumi said, "Although the Devil Gate is not the Xianyuan Pavilion, it is also a member of the human clan. We are willing to participate in the battle together." Qin Haodong said, "I have seen how powerful the Yimo Emperor is. His cultivation is comparable to a late God state expert. The Canaan king was his younger brother, and he also had a large number of experts by his side. This battle would not be easy. The Xianyuan Pavilion is now responsible for searching for information about those people. After the information is confirmed, we will fight against the alien demon together. Once we get rid of the alien demons in Huaxia, we'll head to the alien demon island in Bermuda and destroy the nest of the alien demons in one fell swoop." After Qin Haodong made the decision, Xianyuan Ligay immediately went to assign tasks, while Qin Haodong began to gather all the forces that could be used. This time, when the alien demons invaded China, they only knew that the Canaan king was leading them. They did not know how many experts they had brought with them, so they had to go all out in this battle. A few hours later, the Tang sect began to become lively. First, Li Jiumei, the holy virgin from the Hmong village in Xiangxi, came with the masters of the Juli tribe. Then, Cathaway led the 4 holy knights and the 8 cardinals into the east. Korkina and Lo also rushed over with the masters of the blood kindred. The two sides had been fighting for thousands of years, but this time they stood side by side. The 7 great families in the capital also made a general mobilization before the war. They gathered all the masters at the level 9 of Supreme Power Realm. Qin Zongheng was in charge of forming a team to participate in the battle against the alien demons. Looking at the people gathered in the yard, Qin Haodong was extremely satisfied. After preparing for so long, he finally had his own forces and could fight against the alien demons. It was already early winter in the Mount Tai scenic area of Huaxia, which was the off-season of tourism. The number of tourists going to the top of Mount Tai was not as dense as it was in summer. Especially at night, there were very few people climbing at night. As the sun set and the sky grew darker, a tourist group of 30 or 40 people appeared at the foot of Mount Tai. Under the guidance of a tour guide, they slowly climbed to the top of the mountain. The leader was a middle-aged man in his 50s. He was wearing a jacket and a baseball cap. Although it was almost evening, he still wore a pair of big sunglasses, which made him look cool. Next to him was a middle-aged man in his 40s. He seemed to be a little younger than him. His clothes were exactly the same, and he was carrying a big backpack on his back. No one knew what was in it. The people behind them were old and young, fat and thin, but they were all carrying big backpacks on their backs. Mount Tai was not the highest mountain in Huaxia, but the mountain road was still relatively steep. Generally speaking, it was extremely difficult for tourists to climb up. However, although these people were carrying heavy loads, they walked very briskly. They were even much faster than the tour guides, who led groups to climb Mount Tai all year round. It would take an average person 4 or 5 hours to climb Mount Tai at night, but it only took these people more than 2 hours to reach the Jade Emperor Peak. The tour guide was already so tired that he was out of breath. The middle-aged man said, "Sir, the hotel we booked is not far ahead." The middle-aged man nodded and said in a stiff tone, "Thank you." The tour guide was about to say something polite, but suddenly the young tourist behind him chopped his neck with a knife and knocked him out. The middle-aged man said, "Find a hidden place to hide her. Don't let her affect our plan." The young tourist nodded, picked up the tour guide like a chick, and threw her into the bushes next to him. After that, the middle-aged man led the way. The group left the Jade Emperor Peak and headed for another mountain next to it. Under the cover of the night, they were like ghosts, and their speed was many times faster than before. The Jade Emperor Peak was known as the highest peak of Mount Tai, and the mountains next to it were not inferior to it at all. It was just that they had not been developed for tourism. The group of people were obviously experts. They walked on the cliffs as if they were walking on flat ground. Soon, they arrived at the peak next to them. When they reached the peak, the middle-aged man took off his sunglasses and baseball cap and threw them down. It was King Jianan, who was talking to the alien demon emperor. The middle-aged man standing next to him was his younger brother, King Jiabei. The two of them were in charge of this operation in Huaxia. King Jianan ordered his subordinates next to him, "You guys spread out and guard the peak. Don't let anyone get close." King Jiabei said, "Second brother, aren't we being too careful? We came so secretly this time. I don't think the people of Huaxia have received any news. There's no need to be so nervous." King Jianan said, "This matter is very important. We can't take it lightly. Also, don't underestimate Huaxia. We haven't received any news about Princess Garo yet. Something must have happened there. She has reached the early stage of the divine realm. She was able to defeat the royal family of the alien demon tribe without making a sound. There must be more experts on the other side." King Jiabei said, "Even if there are a few experts in the human race, they must have been restrained by Princess Garo in the capital. No one would have thought that we would come to the top of Mount Tai in Huaxia." King Jianan said, "Don't talk so much. I'm going to detonate the virus bomb immediately. Get the ghost bottle ready and collect the ghosts." After that, he began to gather everyone and opened the backpack behind him. It was filled with the parts of the disassembled launcher. About half an hour later, a simple launcher was reassembled. King Jianan opened his backpack and took out a glass bottle filled with purple-red liquid. King Jiabei asked, "Second brother, will this thing work?" King Jianan said, "This is the latest virus developed by our secret base. As long as someone is infected by it, they will die within half an hour. No matter how good Qin Haodong's medical skills are, he won't have time to treat them. What we need to do now is to spray it into the air through the launcher. This virus will spread with the wind when it comes into contact with the air. Soon, the entire northern part of Huaxia will be infected. At that time, we will get the millions of ghosts we want." King Jiabei said excitedly, "Then what are we waiting for? Let's get started." King Jianan nodded and put the glass bottle into the launcher. After everything was ready, he took out a remote control and pressed the red button on it. At this time, all the alien demons' eyes flashed with anticipation. For many years, they had been looking forward to opening the space channel and bringing their people to this beautiful world. But just when they thought that they were infinitely close to their dream, they were surprised to find that the launcher had disappeared along with the virus solution. What's going on? Where's the thing? King Jinon turned pale with fright. He did not understand why the launcher had suddenly disappeared into thin air. At this moment, a cold voice sounded above their heads. You alien demons want to invade the homeland of our human clan? You're daydreaming. Someone had actually silently appeared above them without being discovered. King Jianan and the others turned pale with fright as they raised their heads to look above them. Qin Haodong floated down from the air. He had just put away the launcher with his storage ring, and finally breathed a long sigh of relief. If the virus was spread, no matter how good his medical skills were, he would not be able to cure millions of infected people. King Jinan said angrily, Qin Haodong, it's you. How dare you ruin our plan? Qin Haodong smiled at him and said, not only me but also many people. Today none of you alien demons will escape. As soon as he finished speaking, there were shouts all around. In the night sky, countless masters of the Saint Realm were galloping over. The 9th-level masters of the Supreme Power Realm, who could not fly, came up from the foot of the mountain at an astonishing speed. In the blink of an eye, they surrounded the dozens of alien demons. Cathaway, Lei Fu, Corkina, Qin Zongheng, Shiyumi and Xianyuan Ligay, who had reached the divine realm, surrounded King Jinan and King Jinbei. Seeing that he had been surrounded, King Jinan's eyes turned bloodshot. You lowly humans don't deserve to occupy this land. Go to hell. After that, he roared and revealed his true form. He was more than 3 meters tall, and his body was frighteningly large. He waved a 2-meter-long broadsword and slashed at Qin Haodong. Although this guy's cultivation was not as good as that of the alien demon emperor, he had already reached the middle stage of the divine realm. The long broadsword in his hand made a sharp sound, as if it was about to tear the space apart. 4-book friend, Fat Cat Rolling Around. Update. Chapter 859. Qin Zongheng was afraid that his son would be at a disadvantage, so he waved the long sword in his hand to meet the attack. There were no rules in the battle against the alien demons. Xianyuan Ligay stabbed King Canaan's neck with her sword, while the red silk thread in Shiyumi's hand wrapped around King Canaan's legs like a snake. Corkina flew up into the air and grabbed the back of King Canaan's neck with her sharp claws. 4 God State Masters attacked at the same time. If it were anyone else, they would definitely die on the spot. But King Canaan had reached the God State middle stage and was far superior to ordinary masters. He let out a deafening roar, and his long saber collided with Qin Zongheng's long sword. The huge force immediately sent Qin Zongheng flying dozens of meters away. King Canaan turned back and swung his long saber. With his powerful body, he sent the other 3 flying. This guy didn't have any skills to speak of. He was just fighting on instinct. But the hybrid demon royalty's body was really strong. Even though Corkina's claws had reached his neck, she couldn't do any damage. On the other side, King Canaan, King Lei Fu, and the others were also fighting. It was rare for the Divine Emperor and the Wolf Emperor to join forces against the enemy. Catherine's whole body was shrouded in holy light. The great prophecy skill restrained King Canaan's speed, and Lei Fu launched a fierce attack on him. Unfortunately, King Canaan's body was also extremely strong. For a moment, they were in a stalemate, and no one could do anything to the other. At the same time, the others were also fighting against each other. After thousands of years, the human clan and the alien demons started a war again. In order to learn about the alien demons as much as possible, Qin Haodong stood aside and watched the battle. After more than 10 minutes, he had almost understood the situation. The human clan had the advantage in numbers, but their individual strength was relatively weak. The 2 sides were fighting in a tangled battle, and their strength was equal. He couldn't help rejoicing in his heart. Fortunately, the alien demons had taken the risk to go deep into Huaxia. If they really brought people to the alien demons' island to fight against all the elites of the alien demons, they would have to pay a heavy price, even if they could destroy the alien demons. The people present were either his women or his relatives and friends. Naturally, he didn't want this to happen. If this went on, there would be casualties. A golden light flashed in his hand, and the Xian Yuan sword appeared in his palm. With his strong defensive ability, King Jianan was in high spirits. After sending Shi Yumi flying with a blow, he raised his huge foot and kicked at Xian Yuan Legay. However, before his foot could touch Xian Yuan Legay's sword, he suddenly felt a sharp pain. His big foot was cut off and flew out of his body. Ah! Although the bodies of the alien demons were tough, it did not mean that they did not feel pain. After his calf was cut off by the Xian Yuan sword, the Canaan king let out a blood-curdling scream. His scream was deafening. "Humans, I'll fight you to the death." The Jianan king, whose leg had been cut off, was like a wounded lion. The long saber in his hand was like a bolt of lightning streaking across the sky, as it ruthlessly chopped down at Qin Zongheng. His strength was much stronger than Qin Zongheng's. When he attacked with all his might, his speed was frighteningly fast. For a moment Qin Zongheng had no room to dodge. In a hurry, he could only raise the long sword in his hand to block. Of course, Qin Haodong would not give the Jianan king a chance to struggle. The Xian Yuan sword in his hand shone with golden light again. In an instant, it pierced through the Jianan king's solid chest, causing a mist of blood to spurt out. Although the alien demons were strong, their hearts were also fatal. After his heart was pierced, the Jianan king did not even have time to scream. The long saber fell to the ground, and then his huge body fell off the cliff with a plop. Second brother, the Jiabei king punched Lei Fu away and pounced on Qin Haodong with a roar. But before he could take a few steps, the Xian Yuan sword had already pierced his throat. The top-grade spirit stones brought back from the divine court last time were not used in vain. They allowed Qin Haodong to step into the late stage of the god transformation realm. He was far from the early stage of the saint realm that the alien demon emperor had guessed. After the death of 2 experts at the middle stage of the god state, the remaining alien demons had lost their leader and were completely in a mess. The human clan naturally would not be soft-hearted. Under the leadership of Qin Haodong, dozens of alien demons were killed in 10 minutes, leaving no one alive. Things had gone very smoothly. Not only had they stopped the virus bomb, but they had also eliminated all the alien demons who had invaded Huaxia. But for some reason, Qin Haodong had a very uneasy feeling in his heart, as if something important was about to happen. He took out the transmitter from the storage ring and held the purple-red liquid in his hand. He scanned it with his spirit, but did not find any virus. He sniffed it again, and his expression suddenly changed. This was not a virus liquid at all, but just ordinary potassium permanganate solution. Shiyumi came over and asked, "What's wrong? Is there anything wrong?" Qin Haodong said with a solemn expression, "This is not a virus liquid at all. We've been fooled. This is a scam." "Fooled?" Shiyumi said in surprise. "How is that possible? They lost so many alien demons at once, including 2 high-level members of the royal family. How could they have been fooled? How could the alien demons pay such a high price to make a scam? The higher the price, the more important it is for them to do." While Qin Haodong was talking, his cell phone suddenly rang in his pocket. It was already late at night, and his subordinates were all around him. Who would call him? He quickly took out his cell phone and saw that it was Donnie Randall. As soon as the phone was connected, he heard the other side say in a hurry, "Haodong, something's wrong. There's a big movement in the Bermuda Triangle." Qin Haodong asked, "Don't worry. What's going on? Tell me slowly." Donnie Randall said very quickly, "Since you asked me to pay attention to the movement in Bermuda, I immediately sent dozens of drones to investigate. It was calm before, but just now there was a big movement there, and then all my drones were destroyed by an unknown force. I guess something big must have happened." The alien demon's island. Qin Haodong was stunned for a moment, but he immediately understood and shouted, "Oh no, we've been fooled." Xianyuan Legay asked, "Sacred Master, what's going on?" Qin Haodong said, "This time, it's a trap from the beginning to the end. The so-called millions of ghosts are just a smoke bomb released by the alien demon emperor. He used King Jianan and the others to attract all our forces to Mount Tai, and the alien demon's island has already begun to attack the seal of the space hole." At this time he had an epiphany. Princess Garo had set him up for the sake of her people before she died. All the information she said was true, but this sentence was false. The so-called millions of ghosts were simply a lie. The purpose was to divert his attention. Xian Yuan Ligay said eagerly, "What should we do now?" Qin Haodong said, "Those below the divine realm, go back to the capital immediately and wait for orders. Those above the divine realm, fly to Bermuda with me. I hope we can make it." Although the saints also had the ability to fly, they were more than 10,000 miles away from Bermuda. With the cultivation of the saints, they would not be able to fight if they flew there. It was useless to go there, so he only brought the masters at the divine realm. "You guys follow me. I'll go first." In terms of cultivation level, Qin Haodong had reached the late stage of God transformation, which was much higher than other God realm masters. At the same time, he was also a cultivator, so his flying speed was much faster than Qin Zongheng and the others. After saying that, he stepped on the flying sword and flew quickly to the west. At this time, on the unique Devil Island, a tall altar was set up in the middle of the square. There were 10 spears around the altar that were 3 feet tall. It was unknown what material these spears were made of, but the surface of each spear was densely packed with ghosts. They kept howling, which made people's hair stand on end. An alien demon in a priest's robe stood on the altar with the alien demon emperor. He was the high priest of the alien demon tribe. At this time, the alien demon emperor had already transformed into his original form, but the excitement on his face could still be seen. "High priest, are you ready?" "Lord alien demon emperor, everything is ready. There are 10 ghost spears, and each of them has gathered 1,000,000 ghosts." The alien demon emperor smiled proudly and said, "It's funny that those Huaxia people think that I really need to collect ghosts now. Those are just tricks to deceive them. These years of war have allowed us to collect enough ghosts. The only thing we need is today, the extreme Yin period, that only appears once every 1,000 years. The high priest said, "Lord alien demon emperor, the seal left by the Huaxia people is extremely strong. If we don't choose the extreme Yin period, no matter how many ghost spears we have, we won't be able to break it. Therefore, this is a rare opportunity for us. If we miss it, we will have to wait another 1,000 years." The alien demon emperor shouted, "We can't wait any longer. Today we must break the seal, and let the millions of alien demons come to Earth. At that time, Earth will be our home." "Qin Haodong, didn't you want to stop me? Aren't you very capable? When you face the alien demon tribe's army, I wonder what kind of expression you will have." After saying that, he and the high priest laughed wildly. It was as if they could already see the moment when the seal would be broken. After laughing enough, the high priest said, "Lord alien demon emperor, the time has come. Let's begin." After saying that, he left the altar and left the alien demon emperor alone. At that moment it was already midnight. On the misty surface of the sea, it was almost completely covered by dense Yin qi. There was no yang qi at all. After waiting for thousands of years, this moment has finally arrived. After saying that, the alien demon emperor stretched out his hand and pulled out a ghost spear. It was as if he could feel his own fate. The spirits on the spear kept rolling and wailing. "Break for me." The alien demon emperor jumped high into the air and went straight to the hole in the space. He threw the ghost spear in his hand. Rumble! A thunderous sound rang out. The ghost spear whistled through the air towards the seal. However, before it could reach the seal, it was blocked by an invisible force. After the two forces collided, the spirits on the ghost spear seemed to have lost control. They pounced towards the invisible force and finally disappeared in the air. The two forces fought for a long time before it slowly calmed down. The alien demon emperor stood at the side and felt that the power of the seal had weakened. He immediately laughed. As expected of the millions of spirits, they are indeed powerful. Let's see how long your stupid seal can last. The alien demon emperor laughed. He pulled out another ghost spear and threw it towards the seal. Chapter 860. The phantom spear grew thicker and thicker. Furthermore, there were millions of spirits attached to the spear. Every time one of them was thrown, he would have to pay a huge price. In the entire Yimo tribe, Only the Yimo Emperor could throw the phantom spear. After throwing the 9 phantom spears, the Yimo Emperor's cultivation and stamina were greatly depleted. Large droplets of sweat appeared on his forehead, and his breathing became heavier. Even so, the Yimo Emperor's face was still brimming with excitement. Under the attack of the 9 phantom spears, the seal on the spatial crack was already on the verge of breaking. It was about to be completely opened, and the Yimo army would arrive. The Yimo tribe members surrounding the altar shouted excitedly. For this moment, they had worked hard for thousands of years, and they were finally about to succeed. The Yimo Emperor stretched out his trembling hand and grabbed the last phantom spear. He was prepared to launch the final attack on the seal. Just at this moment, a golden ray of light streaked across the sky. It charged towards the altar in the middle of the unique Devil Island like a bolt of lightning. It was Qin Haodong who was rushing over. Qin Haodong, you have come. However, you are too late. There is no way you can stop me. Just you wait. Soon, you will tremble under the iron hooves of the Yimo army. Ha, ha, ha. Just thinking about it makes me excited. After the Yimo Emperor laughed, he shouted to his subordinates, "Stop him. Anyone who stands in my way will die." As a demigod stage cultivator, Qin Haodong could feel how weak the seal was. The Yimo Emperor's attack would definitely break the seal, and the consequences would be unimaginable. Anyone who stands in my way will die. After he shouted angrily, a murderous aura erupted from his body. Ever since he was reborn, he had never felt such a strong murderous aura. For the sake of his homeland and the survival of the entire human race, he could not show any mercy. After the golden light from the Xianyuan sword flashed, a dozen royal members of the Yimo tribe were turned into a rain of blood. Brat, no one can stop the Yimo army from coming. The last one standing in front of Qin Haodong was the high priest in a sacrificial robe. Go and die. Seeing that the Yimo Emperor had completed his final preparations and raised the phantom spear in his hand, Qin Haodong's killing intent surged, and he slashed the grand priest in half. After killing the high priest, the Xianyuan sword did not stop. It shot towards the Yimo Emperor's chest. If the Yimo Emperor wanted to live, he would have to dodge this sword. Qin Haodong, you're too late. You can't stop the great cause of the alien demons. Unexpectedly, the Yimo Emperor, who had already descended into madness, completely ignored the Xianyuan sword that was flying towards him. Instead, he raised his hand and threw the phantom spear with all his might. Rumble, rumble, rumble. This time, when the phantom spear struck the seal, it actually caused a series of loud explosions. Following that, a huge wave of energy appeared in the surroundings, and the surrounding sea began to churn violently. Then, a 10-meter wide spatial hole appeared where the seal had just been. At the same time, the Xianyuan sword broke through the Yimo Emperor's powerful defense and pierced his chest. I did it, I finally did it. Ignoring the pain in his chest, the Yimo Emperor leapt up and down on the altar. Qin Haodong, so what if you kill me? In the end, the human race will still be destroyed. This land will belong to us, the alien demons. Hearing the Yimo Emperor shout, the low-level alien demons beside him also cheered. They had finally succeeded. They had once again opened the channel to summon their brethren. Qin Haodong's face was pale. In order to stop the alien demons, he had worked so hard for so long and had done so much. However, in the end he had still failed. He had almost failed to stop the Yimo Emperor. Following that, his body was filled with a monstrous killing intent. No matter what, for the human race, he had to fight the alien demons to the death, even if he had to sacrifice his life. However, as time passed, the cheers of the surrounding alien demons became softer and softer. The chi of heaven and earth became more stable, and everything gradually returned to normal. However, the alien demons' army did not appear. What is going on? Where are my people? Where are my alien demons' army? Why are they not here yet? After a few minutes, there were still no living beings coming through the loophole. The Yimo Emperor, who had been extremely excited just a moment ago, suddenly became crazy. He had planned for so long and sacrificed so much to allow the alien demons to unify this world. However, it seemed that all his plans had failed. The low-level alien demons beside him seemed to have understood what had happened. Their cheers turned into wails, and they beat their chests angrily. Qin Haodong was relieved, and a bright smile bloomed on his face. Yimo Emperor, the alien demons have defied the heavens. Now you are finally being punished by the heavens. Qin Haodong, I will kill you. The Yimo Emperor's eyes were bloodshot as he pounced towards Qin Haodong. However, just as he leaped up, the Xian Yuan sword emitted a golden light and instantly destroyed his heart. His tall body fell down with a thud, and the huge impact caused the entire altar to collapse. Although there was a dramatic accident, Qin Haodong did not care so much. The Xian Yuan sword in his hand brought forth rays of golden light and killed all the alien demons on the alien demon island. What he needed to do now was to get rid of all the evils. He couldn't leave any alien demon alive. He couldn't leave behind any hidden dangers like he did in the past. After killing all of the hybrid demons around the altar, he searched the entire hybrid demon island. Qin Haodong heaved a sigh of relief after making sure that there were no more alien demons left. He had finally gotten rid of the biggest threat to the human clan. Just now, when he was searching, he discovered that the bottom of the hybrid devil island had been completely hollowed out and transformed into an underground warehouse. Half of the warehouse was stocked with a large amount of food, daily necessities, and even a large amount of alcohol. It seemed that the alien demons also liked to drink. The other half of the warehouse was a huge arsenal, containing everything from pistols to grenades. Lint heavy machinery guns, rockets, cannons and other large-scale weapons were available. Since the alien demon no longer existed, it would be a waste to leave these things here. Qin Haodong moved the entire warehouse into the storage ring. He found that his storage ring was by no means an ordinary one. As his cultivation improved, the space inside became larger and larger. After entering the divine transformation realm, the space inside was dozens of square kilometers. The entire warehouse could only occupy a corner. When he finished all this, there was a burst of air-rending sounds. Qin Zongheng, Shi Yumi, Xianyuan Ligay, and the others arrived at the hybrid devil island. Seeing the corpses of the alien demons all over the ground, Qin Zongheng was stunned at first. Then he asked warily, "Son, are you okay?" Qin Haodong said, "I'm fine." Shi Yumi asked, "Where's the alien demon emperor?" Qin Haodong pointed to the altar and said, "He's over there. I've already killed him. Fortunately, you came in time. Otherwise, if a space hole was really open, the entire Earth would be finished." As she spoke, Shi Yimi patted her ample chest with a look of relief on her face. Qin Haodong said, "You're wrong. I'm still a little late. Although I killed the alien demon emperor, he still opened a space hole." "What? A space hole was opened? Where is it? Did the army of the alien demons come?" As soon as he said that, they immediately became nervous again. They all clenched their weapons in their hands, ready to fight at any time. "Don't be afraid. Things seem to be different from what we thought, and what the alien demons thought." Qin Haodong raised his hand and pointed to the space hole in the air and said, "Look, the hole is right there." But no creature came over. Xianyuan Ligay said in surprise, "How is that possible? Since the hole has been opened, the alien demons over there should have swarmed over, right?" Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "I thought so too, but it didn't happen. Now it seems that something must have happened in the alien demon world." As they spoke, they all rose into the air and came to the side of the space hole. They looked inside together. The space hole was about 10 square meters in diameter, but it was dark inside, as if it could even swallow the light. They couldn't see anything. Xianyuan Ligay asked, "Is it possible that this is not the passage to the alien demon world?" Qin Haodong said, "It's impossible. It's extremely difficult to open the space barrier between two worlds. Only masters who have reached the tribulation stage, and several people can do it. There should be only one hole in our space that connects to other spaces. Moreover, the alien demons have been guarding here for thousands of years. It's impossible for them to find the wrong place. This should be the passage to the alien demon world." Shi Yumi asked, "But why didn't the alien demons come?" Qin Haodong said, "I don't know. In short, it's a surprise that the army of the alien demons didn't come." A touch of curiosity flashed across Qin Zongheng's face. "How about I go over and have a look?" "Absolutely not. Qin Haodong quickly grabbed his father and said, "Although the space hole has been opened, it's not as simple as the tunnel of our human clan. It's full of all kinds of space power. If you want to pass through the passage, you can't do it without a strong enough body." Qin Zongheng said, "Then forget it. I wanted to go over and see what happened. Let me do it. My body is strong enough. There's no problem passing through the passage." Qin Haodong cultivated the evergreen with longevity body. In terms of physical strength, he was not inferior to the alien demon emperor at all. Qin Zongheng quickly said, "No way. If something happens to you, your mother will kill me." Qin Haodong said, "That's impossible. In terms of cultivation, I'm already at the last stage of the God transformation realm, which is higher than any of you. Moreover, my body is strong enough to pass through the space hole." Qin Zongheng said, "That's not possible. Since the alien demons didn't come, let's forget about it. Why do we have to go there and ask for trouble?" "It's not asking for trouble," Qin Haodong said. "Although the army of the alien demons hasn't appeared yet, if we leave, who knows when they will come through here. I'll go and find out the specific situation, so that we can make a specific defense. This is a matter of life and death for the entire human clan. We can't be careless." Well, Qin Haodong's words were reasonable. Qin Zongheng wanted to stop him, but he couldn't find a suitable reason. Xianyuan Ligay said, "Sacred Master, why don't I go with you?" "No need. I've already said that your physical strength is not strong enough. The reason why the alien demons can pass through is because of their strong physical strength. Moreover, only high-level alien demons can come. With your cultivation, you will be twisted into pieces before you can pass through the passage." Seeing that his son had made up his mind, Qin Zongheng could only say, "Since you're going, you must be careful and come back as soon as possible." "I know, father." After making the arrangements, Qin Haodong jumped into the space hole. "I'm going to enter the fantasy part of this book right away. Everyone said that the last book, The Mysterious Doctor in the City, had a bad ending. This book will strive to give everyone a happy ending." Chapter 861. After jumping into the hole, Qin Haodong immediately ran his green with genuine qi to protect his body. However, there were countless space undercurrents in the hole. Some were strong, some were weak. The weaker ones could be blocked, but the stronger ones instantly broke through the genuine qi and ravaged his body. Fortunately, Qin Haodong's green with longevity body was extremely strong. Although he felt a burst of tingling, it did not cause much harm. The hole was not too long. After only a few seconds, he felt the space around him lighten. The surging undercurrents around him disappeared, and he came to another space. Because he did not know what unknown dangers there were in this space, Qin Haodong immediately became nervous after passing through the hole. The Xianyuan sword turned into a golden light to protect his body. But then he found that there was no alien demon here. There was not even a shadow of a human. Only the whistling mountain wind blew past him. After relaxing, he began to look around again. He was on a high mountain, surrounded by towering mountains and dense jungles. What a rich spiritual qi. In just a moment, he felt the difference between this place and the earth. The spiritual qi here was so rich, more than 1,000 times richer than on the earth. As a cultivator, he seemed to feel that his nascent soul was cheering. A large amount of spiritual qi was absorbed into his body with every breath, nourishing the nascent soul. Good place, it's really a good place. Qin Haodong secretly sighed. The spiritual qi here was not inferior to that in the cultivation world. If he cultivated here for a few hundred years, he would definitely be able to reach the tribulation stage and face the ninth heaven thunder tribulation again. Since there was no danger, he stepped on the flying sword and explored this new world. He had reached the late stage of soul transformation. The speed of flying on the sword was extremely fast. After a while, he had already reached 100 miles away. What a beautiful place. Qin Haodong was almost fascinated by this place. The mountains were beautiful, the scenery was infinite, and the spiritual qi was so rich that it made people crazy. This was simply a paradise on earth. It was not as bad as Princess Garo said, but soon he felt relieved. This was a paradise for the human clan, but for the alien demons who lived on devil qi, It might be hell. No wonder the alien demons could not absorb devil chi from the hole in the seal these years. It turned out that this place had been completely filled with spiritual chi, and there was no trace of devil chi. Could it be that the alien demons had been completely annihilated because of the spiritual chi? It was a pity that the Yimo Emperor had worked so hard for thousands of years, but in the end, it was all for naught. There was no trace of the Yimo tribe here. So how could there be an army of Yimo tribe? But why did such a huge change happen here? With a stomach full of questions, Qin Haodong quickly explored around. About 3 or 4 hours later, he returned to the location of the space hole. He had a good look around. Not only were there no alien demons, but he also encountered a few human villages. Most of the villagers here were ordinary people. Occasionally, some cultivators would pass by, but their cultivations were not too high. The highest was only at the nascent soul stage. Overall, the situation here was no different from the cultivation world. If he was not sure that he had entered the passage to the unique devil world, he would have thought that he had returned to the cultivation world. What he needed to do now was to return to Earth as soon as possible, tell everyone about the news, lift the alert, and then discuss what to do next. If he could bring everyone around him to this world, his cultivation would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Thinking of this, he prepared to enter the space hole again to return to Earth. But at this moment, he was shocked to find that the space hole, which was originally fine, was now covered by an invisible energy. He could not enter at all. This is the space seal. Qin Haodong was stunned. How could it be sealed again after only half a day? This kind of seal was definitely set up by an ancient powerful person. The people on Earth were all warriors, so no one would set up a seal. What was going on? Qin Haodong waved the Xian Yuan sword and attacked the seal. But he helplessly found that the seal was too strong. Even if he used all his strength, he could not move it at all. What the hell? Qin Haodong was speechless. He had come to investigate the situation, but now his way was blocked and he was homeless. He forced himself to calm down and slowly think about the situation in front of him. After thinking for a long time, there was only one conclusion, and that was that the seal set up by the Yellow Emperor and the other ancient powerful people had the ability to recover itself. When the Yimo Emperor was in extreme pain, he used the ghost spear to break the seal. But that was only temporary. After a certain period of time, the seal would automatically recover and reseal the space hole. His parents, women and children were all on the other side, but he was stuck here and could not go back. This was really ridiculous. If he had known that this would happen, he would not have come here. Who would have thought that the seal of the space hole would have the ability to recover itself? Qin Haodong patted his head in frustration, but there was nothing he could do. He sat in front of the seal in a daze, thinking about a way to return. But after sitting for a whole day, he still could not think of a way to return. Lifting his head, he looked at the unbreakable seal. Of course, he could not be like the Yimo Emperor, who was frantically collecting millions of Yin souls. In terms of pure cultivation, he would need to reach the Great Ascension stage in order to break this seal. In the cultivation world, cultivators' cultivation was divided into upper, middle and lower stages. The Qi refining stage, foundation building stage, golden core stage, original infant stage and soul forming stage were lower stages. Each stage was further divided into early, middle and late stages. The void training stage, form synthesis stage and great vehicle stage were middle stages. Each stage was divided into early, middle, late and complete stages. After the tribulation stage, one would enter the upper stage. In his previous life, it took him 500 years to reach the tribulation stage from the Qi refining stage. This time, with his previous cultivation experience, it would not take him that long. The only way now was to increase his cultivation as soon as possible, break the seal and reunite with his family. Since he had confirmed the direction, he did not hesitate anymore. He made a Qi concealing array on the space hole and flew out of the mountain. If he cultivated in the mountain, with the richness of the spiritual Qi and his previous cultivation experience, he would be able to reach the tribulation stage in less than 300 years. But that would be too long. When he was in the cultivation world, The ratio of time to Earth was 100. 1. 500 years in the cultivation world was equivalent to 5 years on Earth. But who knew what it would be like here? If he returned to Earth, everything would be different, and he would regret it for the rest of his life. Therefore, he needed to increase his cultivation speed as soon as possible. It was not enough to absorb the spiritual chi between heaven and earth. He needed to obtain as many cultivation resources as possible, and refine as many elixirs as possible. With his previous exploration, he had a preliminary understanding of this place. He flew directly to the nearest village, but after flying for about 30 or 40 miles, he suddenly heard someone shouting, "Help! Hurry up and help!" Qin Haodong looked in the direction of the voice, and saw a figure flying quickly from afar. This person seemed to have reached the soul-forming stage. He was flying very fast, and behind him was a huge python that was dozens of feet long. "Help, hurry up and help!" The person flying fast in front of him was a woman. At this time, she also saw Qin Haodong and flew over, as if she had seen a savior. Is this the dragon scale python? This place was very similar to the cultivation world. Not only was the woman speaking the language of the cultivation world, but the dragon scale python was also a fourth-rank monster in the cultivation world. In the cultivation world, monsters were divided into 9 levels. Fourth-rank monsters were comparable to human cultivators in the nascent soul stage, and fifth-rank monsters were comparable to human cultivators in the soul-forming stage. The dragon scale python was a fourth-rank monster. Its scales were very similar to the dragon pattern, so it got its name. This kind of monster had very strong defense and fast flying speed, but its strength was not particularly strong. At least, it was not as strong as a cultivator in the soul-forming stage. So the situation in front of him was a little strange. A cultivator in the soul-forming stage comparable to a fifth-rank monster was being chased by a fourth-rank monster and crying for help. What was going on? Just when Qin Haodong was surprised, the woman was almost in front of him. She suddenly ran behind him and hugged his arm tightly, trembling. The dragon scale python followed closely behind, pouncing over with its fangs and claws. Just when Qin Haodong was about to use his sword to kill it, he suddenly felt a fluctuation in the spirit beast bag. The 3-legged golden toad that had been sleeping was moving. Qin Haodong moved his mind, and the 3-legged golden toad appeared in front of the dragon scale python. At this time, the 3-legged golden toad was very different from before it fell asleep. Not only was its body bigger, but its body was also light golden. There was also a golden stripe on its forehead. A fifth-rank monster? Qin Haodong could clearly feel that the 3-legged golden toad had advanced to a fifth-rank monster. It seemed that eating the 3 demon generals had helped it a lot. This made him feel a little regretful. If he had known earlier, he would have let the 3-legged golden toad eat the monstrous demon emperor as well. If the demon generals could make it so much stronger, the monstrous demon emperor could probably make it a 6th-rank monster. But now he could only think about it. He was already trapped in this world, and there was no way he could go back in a short time. The dragon scale python was baring its fangs and brandishing its claws aggressively. When it saw the 3-legged golden toad, it immediately became frightened. There was a natural connection between monsters, and they had an instinctive fear of monsters of a higher rank. Seeing a 5th-rank monster appear out of nowhere, the golden-scaled python was scared and turned around to run, but the 3-legged golden toad did not give it the chance. It opened its mouth, and its tongue, which was more agile than a spirit snake, directly sucked the golden-scaled python into its mouth. After swallowing the dragon-scale python, the 3-legged golden toad turned around and came in front of Qin Haodong. Its big head rubbed against Qin Haodong's arm, as if it was asking for credit. "So scary, don't let it come over." The woman hiding behind Qin Haodong trembled in fear after seeing the 3-legged golden toad. Even her voice was a little out of tune. Qin Haodong was speechless. She had clearly reached the late stage of soul formation. How could she still be so timid? "Don't be afraid, it is my spirit beast. It won't hurt people." "Really? It really won't eat me?" the woman said timidly. "Of course not. It is a spirit beast, not a monster. It is a friend of our human race. After Qin Haodong said that, the woman became a lot bolder and slowly turned around from behind. So beautiful. Even though Qin Haodong had seen many beautiful women, he was still amazed when he saw this woman. This woman was about 20 years old, wearing a body-shaping warrior robe, which vividly showed off her tall and slender figure. She had delicate facial features, perfect skin, and long black hair tied into a ponytail hanging behind her head. There was still a trace of fear on her face, which made people look extremely pitiful. She was beautiful enough, but this courage did not match her identity as a warrior. She should have been a valiant female warrior, but she behaved like a frightened bird. Chapter 862. Thank you for saving me, the woman said to Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong was amused and asked, "You are a warrior at the god transformation stage. How could you be chased by a level 4 magical beast? Why didn't you just kill it?" "You think I didn't think about it? That thing looks so scary. I'm scared when I see it. I'm almost scared to death." As the woman spoke, she reached out and patted her towering chest, causing it to tremble enchantingly. Qin Haodong was speechless and said, "I really don't know how you practice your cultivation. You are a strong man at the god transformation stage. Why are you afraid of a little monster?" The woman said with some embarrassment, "I did what my master told me to do, but I'm still scared when I see that thing." Qin Haodong shook his head. This woman was not much different from the students on Earth, who had high scores but low ability. She had no problems in exams, but she had no actual combat ability. Once she entered society, she would be completely dumbfounded. But after all, he met someone who could help him understand the situation of this world. Naturally, he would not let go of this opportunity. "Girl, where are you going? Let me give you a ride." Okay. There are too many beasts in this mountain. I'm really scared." The woman agreed without hesitation. Qin Haodong took her and jumped onto the back of the three-legged golden toad. Then, they flew west according to the direction of the woman. In this forest, the level 5 spirit beast was already the supreme existence, so the way was very peaceful, and they were not disturbed by other monsters. The woman let go of Qin Haodong's arm and said, "Hello, my name is Zhao Xingyue. Thank you for your help. Can you tell me your name?" "My name is Qin Haodong," Zhao Xingyue said. "Your clothes are so strange. I have never seen anyone wearing your clothes. This clothes was made for me by my master. I have lived in the mountains with my master since I was a child. I have never seen the outside world, and I don't know what kind of clothes you wear. My master suddenly passed away a few days ago, and let me come out to practice alone. I didn't expect to meet you here." This was the excuse that Qin Haodong thought of, which could completely cover up his past. Sure enough, Zhao Xingyue did not doubt it. She took out a set of men's clothes from her storage ring and said, "I was going to disguise myself as a man. You can use this set of clothes first." She stuffed the clothes into Qin Haodong's hands and turned around. Qin Haodong naturally did not want to stand out in this world. He took the robe and changed his clothes. He had lived in the cultivation world for 500 years, so he was no stranger to this kind of clothes. After changing his clothes, he asked, "Can you tell me where this place is?" "It seems like you really don't know anything," Zhao Xingyue said. "This is the Lingwu continent. Right now we are in the Black Tortoise country." Lingwu continent? I heard from my master that this place is called the Alien Devil World, and there are many alien devils. He told me to be careful. Why don't I see any demons? Qin Haodong asked his own doubts. Unique devil world? Devil race? At this time, Zhao Xingyue was no longer nervous. After hearing his question, she giggled. She was originally beautiful, and her smile was even more beautiful and moving. "I really don't know how long you and your master have stayed in the mountains. The alien demon world and the alien demon tribe are things that happened thousands of years ago. Now humans are ruling this continent. Where can we find the alien demon tribe?" Zhao Xingyue's statement confirmed Qin Haodong's guess. He asked, "What the hell is going on? Can you tell me more about it?" "Well, anyway, we still have some time to travel. I'll tell you." Zhao Xingyue told him about the whole Lingwu continent. It turned out that this continent used to be called the Yinyang continent. Half of it was filled with spiritual qi and occupied by human beings. The other half was filled with devil qi and occupied by the alien demon tribe. The human race could not survive in an environment full of devil qi, and the alien demon could not adapt to the spiritual qi either. Therefore, there was not much conflict between the two sides. But just 5,000 years ago, there was a change in the Yin-Yang continent. There was more and more spiritual qi and less devil qi. The space occupied by the alien demon tribe was getting smaller and smaller. 1,000 years ago, 4 spirit springs suddenly appeared on this continent. The spirit qi was unprecedentedly abundant, and the devil qi was squeezed to the point where there was no space left for the alien demons to survive. In the end, the alien demons were annihilated by the human race. From then on, the Yin-Yang continent was changed to the Lingwu continent and a scuffle began. Finally, based on the 4 spirit springs, the continent was divided into 4 countries, named Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird and Black Tortoise. They were now in the place that was once ruled by the alien demon tribe. Now it was the Black Tortoise Kingdom of the Lingwu continent. Qin Haodong nodded secretly. It seemed that 5,000 years ago, the strong alien demon tribe broke the space barrier and entered the plane of the earth, because their living space was getting smaller and smaller. But later, the space hole was sealed by the Yellow Emperor and other ancient powerful figures. The alien demon tribe that stayed on this continent could only go to extinction. Although Zhao Xingyue was a little timid, she was very knowledgeable and answered one question after another. Finally, Qin Haodong asked, "Master passed away. I want to find a place to continue my cultivation. Is there any good way to improve my cultivation quickly?" The best way to improve your cultivation quickly is to study in the academy. Zhao Xingyue said excitedly. There are 4 academies in the Lingwu continent, and the Black Tortoise Academy is not far away. Today is the last day of enrollment in the Black Tortoise Academy. I'm going there to sign up. Would you like to go with me? Go to the academy? Qin Haodong was a little hesitant. Zhao Xingyue continued. Let me tell you, the cultivation resources of the entire Lingwu continent are basically controlled by the academy and the royal family. If you don't have the royal blood, you can only study in the academy. In the academy, you can learn the best cultivation methods, get guidance from famous teachers, and enjoy the cultivation resources, which you can't get anywhere else. Her words moved Qin Haodong. As the Emperor Greenwood in his previous life, he didn't lack cultivation methods or guidance from famous teachers, but he lacked cultivation resources. If he could get enough cultivation resources, he would soon be able to cultivate to the Desheng stage and reopen the space hole. Well, I'll go with you. Great, there's finally someone to keep me company. Zhao Xingyue tried to persuade Qin Haodong to go to the Black Tortoise Academy. It seemed that she was just looking for someone to boost her courage. After the two discussed, they flew together in the direction of the Black Tortoise Academy. However, Zhao Xingyue seemed to be unfamiliar with the road and took the wrong way several times. Finally, they asked around several times and finally saw the shadow of the Black Tortoise Academy from afar. When they arrived above the academy, Qin Haodong couldn't help but be slightly surprised. It was indeed one of the top academies in the Lingwu continent. The scale was a bit too big, it was like a small city. When they approached the Black Tortoise Academy, the two jumped down from the back of the 3-legged golden toad. Qin Haodong put it into the spirit beast bag, and the two walked to the front of the gate. The gate of the Black Tortoise Academy was built magnificently, just like the city gate in the costume movies. There were several tables placed next to the gate with a banner that said, New Student Registration Office. As soon as the two walked over, a middle-aged man who looked like a teacher said enthusiastically, Are you here to sign up? Qin Haodong glanced at the middle-aged man. As expected of the Black Tortoise Academy, a random teacher had reached the early void refinement stage. He said, Hello teacher, we're here to sign up. The middle-aged man said, Welcome to the Black Tortoise Academy. Please pay the registration fee of 1 top-grade spirit stone first, and then take the college test. If you pass, you'll be a member of our academy. The registration fee is so expensive? Qin Haodong looked confused. When he was in the cultivation world, He also used spirit stones as a common currency. The problem was that he didn't have many top-grade spirit stones, and he had used them all. Moreover, the registration fee of one top-grade spirit stone was a bit too expensive. Although there were countless Huaxia dollars and US dollars in the storage ring, it seemed to be no different from waste paper on this continent. The middle-aged man said, "We're one of the 4 most famous academies on the continent. The registration fee of one top-grade spirit stone is already very cheap." Whether it was expensive or not was secondary. The key was that Qin Haodong really had no money at the moment. He shook his head helplessly. It seemed that he could only ask Zhao Xingyue. Looking at her luxurious clothes, she must be a child of a rich family. She should not care about the registration fee of one top-grade spirit stone. But as soon as he turned around, before he could speak, he heard Zhao Xingyue say shyly, "Brother Qin, can you lend me 100 gold coins first? I'll pay you back later." Qin Haodong was suddenly dumbfounded. What was going on? Before he could speak, she asked for money first. He turned back and said to the middle-aged man, "Teacher, we don't have that much money. Can we sign up first and pay it back later?" Hearing that they had no money, the middle-aged man's face immediately became cold. "Pay the registration fee and take the test. This is the academy system. I can't do anything about it." Sure enough, no matter where you were, you couldn't do anything without money. Qin Haodong took Zhao Xingyue to the side, and they began to discuss again. He asked, "Aren't you here to sign up? Why don't you bring money?" Zhao Xingyue said rather embarrassedly, "I came out in a hurry, so I forgot to bring money. If you have money, you can lend it to me first. I'll definitely pay you back later." Qin Haodong spread his hands and said, "I came from the mountains. I don't have a penny. How can I lend you?" Zhao Xingyue said awkwardly, "What should we do? Today is the last day of Black Tortoise College's enrollment. If we can't sign up, we can only wait until next year." "We can't wait. Let's think of a way." Qin Haodong was eager to improve his cultivation and return to Earth as soon as possible. He didn't want to waste a day, let alone a year. Although he had no top-grade spirit stone, there were countless materials in his storage ring. He wanted to see what was valuable and exchange some gold coins for registration. Not far from the gate of the college was a bustling commercial street. It was very prosperous, with people coming and going. There was a wine shop at the end of the street, with a big sign on the door with the words, 10 miles fragrance written on it. The business of the wine shop was very good, and people went in to buy wine from time to time. Qin Haodong walked over, and the fat boss immediately greeted him. "Little brother, do you want to buy wine? We have authentic 10 miles fragrance here. You can buy a jar of it for only 100 top-grade spirit stones. You can have a taste. I'm sure you'll be satisfied with our wine." The fat boss was very good at doing business. As he spoke, he sent 2 small cups filled with wine to Qin Haodong and Zhao Xingyue. Chapter 863. Qin Haodong took the glass in his hand and smelled it. Then he frowned and took a sip. Suddenly he spat it out. "It's too bad. Can this be called wine?" He immediately attracted the attention of the people around him, and they all looked over. The fat boss's face immediately darkened and he said angrily, "Boy, are you looking for trouble with me?" Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "I'm not looking for trouble. It's your wine that tastes too bad." He was telling the truth. The winemaking technology here was really bad. The wine brewed here was sour and astringent. It was not comparable to the wine on Earth at all. "Nonsense." The fat boss became even angrier and shouted angrily, "Boy, if you want to make trouble, you should choose a better reason. Who in the entire Black Tortoise Institute doesn't know of my, Fatty Gao's, Tenli fragrance? This is a secret recipe passed down from generation to generation. Even Dean Luo only drinks my family's wine. Yet you dare to say that my wine isn't tasty?" The people around also began to talk about it. "Yes, Fatty Gao's wine is really good. Tenli Xiang is a first-class wine, but it's a little too expensive. It costs 100 upper-level spirit stones. I don't know where this young man came from. He really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. How dare he say that Tenli Xiang is not good?" Hearing everyone's discussion, the fat boss said proudly, "Boy, did you hear that? No wine can be better than my Tin Li Xiang." Qin Haodong just smiled slightly. He just came here to learn about the market and price of wine on the Lingwu continent, so that he could price the wine he was about to sell. He turned around and left the wine shop. Zhao Xingyue followed him and said, "Brother Qin, shouldn't we hurry up and find a way to raise the registration fee? Why are you looking at other people's wine?" "Don't worry, the registration fee will be here soon," Qin Haodong said with a smile. "How many upper-level spirit stones can I exchange for one top-level spirit stone?" Zhao Xingyue said 10,000. Qin Haodong nodded and took out a table from his storage ring and put it in front of him. Then he took out 2 bottles of Maotai and put them on the table. He had just seen that many people here had storage rings, so he was not worried that his behavior would attract others' attention. "What is this? It's beautiful." Zhao Xingyue picked up a bottle of Maotai and asked. Although the Lingwu continent was rich in spiritual qi, the jars used to store wine could not be compared to the modern industrially manufactured Maotai wine bottles. The difference was worlds apart. "Wine. That'll be our registration fee later." Qin Haodong took out another piece of wood and wrote "Sell wine" on it. Then he put it in front of the table. Zhao Xingyue said in surprise, "Brother Qin, can you sell wine in front of a wine shop?" The tall fat man had been paying attention to Qin Haodong and saw the sign. He couldn't help but sneer. "I don't know where this fool came from. How dare he sell wine in front of my wine shop? I can guarantee that he won't be able to sell a single drop. There is no wine in this world that can compare to my Tin Li fragrance." Hearing this, the others echoed and laughed at Qin Haodong for showing off in front of Guan Yu. Although they were separated by a street, Qin Haodong still heard what these people said clearly. He smiled, took a bottle of wine and opened the cap. Maotai was originally a fragrant wine. It was the most fragrant kind of wine. When this 15-year-old bottle of Feitian Maotai was opened, the rich wine fragrance suddenly spread. With the help of Greenwood Genuine Qi, almost the entire commercial street could smell its wine fragrance. "My God, what wine is this? Why is it so fragrant? This is the real Tin Li fragrance." No wonder the young man just said that the tall fat man's wine is nothing. It turns out that he has a real good wine. This wine is so fragrant. If I could have a sip, I would be willing to die. The tall fat man was completely dumbfounded. His proud smile froze on his face. As a winemaker, he naturally could smell how good the wine was. This was the real Tin Li fragrance. Under the influence of the wine fragrance, it immediately attracted countless drunkards. Many people surrounded Qin Haodong's table. "Young man, how much is your wine?" "I'll take it." A middle-aged drunkard wiped his saliva and reached for the Maotai. Qin Haodong said, 5 top-grade spirit stones for a bottle." "What? How much?" As soon as the man's hand touched the bottle of Maotai, it was as if he had touched a bomb. Like a bullet, he quickly retracted it. Qin Haodong said, 5 top-grade spirit stones for a bottle of wine. There is no discount." "Oh my God, are you crazy? How can there be such an expensive wine?" Hearing this price, many people who wanted to buy retreated and could only keep wiping their saliva. After a short moment of astonishment, Zhao Xingyue whispered in Qin Haodong's ear, "Brother Qin, is your wine too expensive?" Although the Lingwu continent was full of spiritual qi and rich in top-grade spirit stones, there were many cultivators on this continent, and the consumption of spirit stones every day was extremely huge. Therefore, a top-grade spirit stone had a strong purchasing power. 10 top-grade spirit stones for 2 bottles of wine was definitely not affordable for ordinary people. Qin Haodong said, "Don't worry, it's definitely worth the price." He had enough confidence. No matter where it was, it had always been expensive when it was rare. These 2 bottles of Maotai were definitely rare goods here, and there would be buyers soon. Just then, a skinny old man suddenly appeared in front of the wine shop. He carried a huge wine gourd on his back and exuded a strong smell of wine. "Dean Luo, you're here." After seeing the old man, the tall fat man immediately greeted him with a flattering face. The skinny old man was Luo Dongqing, the deputy dean of Black Tortoise Academy. He had no other hobbies in his life except for wine. Every day, he would go to the tall fat man's place to buy a gourd of fragrance. Luo Dongqing sniffed and said eagerly, "Tall fat man, why didn't you inform me that you have such good wine? Do you want to close the wine shop? Hurry up and bring me the good wine." "Dean Luo, I've already prepared it for you. Our shop has the best fragrance," the tall fat man said as he held a jar of wine in front of Luo Dongqing. Luo Dongqing raised his hand and patted the seal on the wine jar. He sniffed and said, No, this fragrance didn't come from a long time. Hurry up and change it for me." The tall fat man said, "Dean Luo, this is the best wine in our shop." Luo Dongqing grabbed the tall fatty's collar and lifted him up lightly. "Nonsense, I can smell the aroma of the wine. Do you still want to hide it?" Although the tall fat man knew what was going on, he pointed at Qin Haodong with a bitter face and said, "Dean Luo, don't be angry. The wine you smell is from that young man." Luo Dongqing immediately put the tall fat man down and turned to Qin Haodong's table. Looking at the 2 bottles of Mao Tai on the table and smelling the strong wine fragrance, he kept swallowing. If it weren't for his identity as the deputy dean, he would have grabbed the 2 bottles immediately. "Young man, how much is your wine?" "I'll take it. 10 top-grade spirit stones." Looking at the old man in front of him, Qin Haodong's pupil shrank slightly. He couldn't see through the old man's cultivation, which could only mean that he was at least a strong man in the form synthesis stage. Luo Dongqing was shocked and cried, "What? It's so expensive. Young man, I've never seen such expensive wine in my life. I can guarantee that you've never tasted such good wine in your life," Qin Haodong said with a smile. "And it's not a scam. The college charges 1 top-grade spirit stone for registration. That's a scam." Luo Dongqing said, "Are you a freshman here to register?" Qin Haodong nodded and said, "This is the best wine. There are only 2 bottles left. If it weren't for the registration fee, I wouldn't have sold them." "Interesting. I hope you can pass the test of our school." Luo Dongqing smiled and said, "I'll take this wine." After that, he threw down 10 top-grade spirit stones, grabbed the bottle of Mao Tai in his hand, raised his head, and took a big gulp. "Good wine. Really good wine." After saying that, Luo Dongqing disappeared with the 2 bottles of wine. The other drunkards couldn't help swallowing when they saw Luo Dongqing drinking. Only the tall fatty was slightly relieved. He heard clearly that Qin Haodong only had 2 bottles of this wine. If he really had more, his winery would probably be closed. Qin Haodong put away the 10 top-grade spirit stones and said to Zhao Xingyue, "Let's go and register." They came to the middle-aged teacher again and handed over the 2 top-grade spirit stones. After receiving the money, Zhou Yukai took out 2 forms and asked them to fill in their basic information. Then he took out 2 testing crystals and gave 1 to each of them. "Pour all your genuine qi into it. If you meet the requirements, you'll be a member of our school." Qin Haodong held the crystal in his palm. He didn't know what the admission standard of the Black Tortoise College was. But seeing that Zhao Xingyue had reached the late stage of Huashan realm and still came here to register, it should not be too low. So he directly poured all his cultivation into it. When the greenwood genuine qi entered the testing crystal, it burst into a dazzling red light in an instant. Zhou Yukai had been watching from the side. He clearly saw the process of Qin Haodong selling wine to raise the registration fee. He felt that such a person, who didn't even have a top-grade spirit stone, would not have a high cultivation. He might not even be able to pass the examination. Although the Black Tortoise College was the highest level college in the Black Tortoise Kingdom, as long as one's cultivation reached the early stage of Yuanying realm, he would meet the admission standard. They had recruited almost 1,000 students this year, most of whom were at the early stage of Yuanying realm. Only the most outstanding students would reach the early stage of Huashan realm. But he didn't expect that this student, whom he didn't think highly of, would make the crystal glow red. That was the sign of the early stage of Huashan realm. Was he a genius student? Qin Haodong put down the testing crystal and looked at the dull Zhou Yukai. He asked, "Teacher, did I pass the test?" Zhou Yukai came to his senses and looked at the form in his hand. It clearly said that this person was 21 years old. How could he have such a high cultivation? Even the so-called peerless genius of the Black Tortoise College didn't have such a good result when she entered the college. He licked his lips and asked, "Did you hide your age?" "Hide my age?" Shin Haodong said in surprise. "I'm not on a blind date. Why should I hide my age?" The middle-aged man raised his hand and slapped his forehead. "I forgot. I forgot. If you are over the age of 30, the crystal will call the police," he immediately said with a smile. "Congratulations on becoming a member of our Black Tortoise College." Chapter 864. My God! She reached the late stage of soul formation at the age of 21. She's too amazing. Comparisons are odious. I signed up at the middle stage of nascent soul realm. I thought I was great, but I'm nothing compared to her. A genius is a genius. I've been living like a dog all my life. It's so annoying. Hearing that there was a new student at the late stage of soul formation, the whole Black Tortoise Academy was boiling. Everyone gathered here to see what this year's genius was like. Shin Haodong secretly shook his head when he heard the discussion around him. He wanted to keep a low profile, but he accidentally became famous again. At this time, Zhao Xingyue also finished her test, and the test crystal in her hand glowed with a yellow halo. Zhou Yukai said, "Late stage of nascent soul realm. Congratulations on passing the test of our academy." Shin Haodong was slightly surprised. This girl was obviously at the late stage of soul formation. How could she be at the late stage of nascent soul realm? He asked in a low voice. "Did you hide your strength?" "Yes." Zhao Xingyue nodded shyly. "I was so scared when I saw so many people around you, so I hid a little." Shin Haodong was speechless for a while. He really didn't know how such a timid girl managed to escape. "You two please choose your major," Zhou Yukai said again. Major? Shin Haodong didn't expect that cultivation also needed to choose a major. He asked, "What majors are there in our school?" "There are summoner, alchemist and martial arts." Shin Haodong said, "Then I'll choose alchemist." Zhou Yukai said, "Okay, please show me your alchemist medal." "What medal?" Zhou Yukai explained. "Our academy is the highest level academy in the Lingwu continent. Naturally, there is a lower limit. You can only choose alchemist if you are at least a third-stage alchemist." "Then I'll choose martial arts." Although Shin Haodong was confident that he would not lose to anyone in alchemy, he had no medal, so he could only choose martial arts. "I'm the same as him," Zhao Xingyue said immediately, as if she was afraid that Shin Haodong would get rid of her. "Well, you're martial arts students. Now come with me to the student dormitory." After Zhou Yukai finished speaking, he led the two of them into the Black Tortoise Institute's main entrance and walked towards the students' living quarters. The Black Tortoise Institute was simply too big. It was simply a small city. Fortunately, they were all cultivators and their speed was very fast. "This is your living area. You can choose a dormitory for your own use." Looking at the elegant and chic courtyards in front of him, Shin Haodong asked in surprise, "Is this our dormitory? Do you live alone?" The middle-aged man nodded and said, "That's right. For the convenience of cultivation, we have a courtyard for each student. As long as there's no student symbol hanging on the door, it's an empty dormitory. You can choose any." How extravagant. When Shin Haodong went to school in his previous life, there were 4 or 5 students squeezing into a small room. The treatment he received now was unimaginable on Earth, where every inch of land was worth gold. He pointed at a courtyard and said, "I want this one." Zhao Xingyue added, "I want the one next to him." "Sure." Zhou Yukai smirked and said, "The rent for each dormitory is 5 top-quality spirit stones a year. Pay the money now." "What the hell? Does the dormitory cost money? And 5 top-quality spirit stones?" Shin Haodong felt that Zhou Yukai was not a teacher at all, but more like a businessman. Zhou Yukai said confidently, "Of course, the school also costs money to build a dormitory. 5 top-quality spirit stones is very cheap." Shin Haodong was speechless for a while. Was this still a college? It was really difficult to do anything without money. Zhao Xingyue asked, "Is there a cheaper dormitory?" Zhou Yukai said, "Our college treats everyone the same. The dormitory is not graded." Zhao Xingyue asked with blushing cheeks, "Can 2 people live in a dormitory?" Zhou Yukai said, The school only charges according to the number of dormitories. As for how many people live in it, it's your own business. Qin Haodong had no choice. He only had 8 top-quality spirit stones in his hand. He could not leave Zhao Xingyue alone. If he had known this, he would have asked the old drunkard for more money. He took out 5 top-quality spirit stones and gave them to Zhou Yukai. Zhou Yukai took the money and did not rush to put it away. He said, "Freshmen also need to buy school uniforms. Each set costs 1 top-quality spirit stone." Qin Haodong had no choice but to give out 2 top-quality spirit stones and get 2 sets of white school uniforms. Remember to wear school uniforms when you go out in the future, or you will be fined 1 top-quality spirit stone each time. Zhou Yukai continued, "Our Black Tortoise College is a top college. The management of students is extremely strict. In the future, you must act according to the management rules of the college. Otherwise, you will be fined or expelled. I have the management rules of the college here. I'll sell it to you at a cheaper price. 2 books for 1 top-quality spirit stone." Soon, Zhou Yukai left with 8 top-quality spirit stones satisfied. Qin Haodong had 2 more red booklets in his hand, but his pockets were empty. "Damn it, I've become a pauper again so soon." Qin Haodong looked at Zhou Yotsai's back angrily. Why did he call himself that? Just call him Zhou Bapi. The money had been spent. They took their things into their dormitory. Although it was a little expensive, the conditions were really good. All kinds of daily necessities were available. The only drawback was that there was only 1 bed. According to the rules, they put on the school uniforms. Zhao Xingyue said embarrassedly, "Brother Qin, I'm sorry to trouble you. It doesn't matter. It's fate that we met." Qin Haodong said as he looked through the student management rules in his hand. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Since he had become a member of Black Tortoise College, he had to see how it was managed. Soon he figured out the situation here. The management of Black Tortoise College was completely different from that of the previous college. The college was divided into 4 grades. The students of each grade wore different colors. From the 1st grade to the 4th grade, they wore 4 colors: white, black, blue, and purple. Here, students were forbidden to fight in private. However, if there was a conflict, they could challenge each other to a duel on the challenge stage. The challenge stage was presided over by a teacher of the school. The fee for each challenge was 10 top-quality spirit stones, which was paid by the party who initiated the challenge. The party who lost the challenge had to pay 10 top-quality spirit stones to the winning party. At the same time, there were many related supplementary provisions. For example, junior students could refuse the challenge of senior students. And if senior students refused the challenge of junior students, they had to pay 10 top-quality spirit stones as compensation. In terms of students' classes, the school also had its own management characteristics. Students were not forced to attend any course. However, there was an evaluation test every month. The students who ranked lower in the test had to give top-quality spirit stones as a reward to the students who ranked higher. The college also provided many ways for students to earn spirit stones, which were distributed through the school's task union. If students wanted to earn spirit stones, they could go to the union to do tasks. Each task paid different amounts of spirit stones according to the difficulty. As an earthling, he saw at a glance that the core of the management of students was to mobilize the enthusiasm of students through money. Under the pressure of money, unless one was rich, he dared not relax at all. Qin Haodong was very satisfied with this management method. He didn't need to attend classes at all. He only needed a sufficient number of spirit stones to practice. The loose management method saved him a lot of trouble. But the problem now was that he had no spirit stones at hand. He needed to find a way to make money. Zhao Xingyue also realized the importance of money. She said, "Brother Qin, let's go to the task union and find a way to earn some top-quality spirit stones." Qin Haodong nodded, and they went to the task union of the college together. The Mission Guild was the largest building in the academy. It had a total of 4 floors, and the bottom 3 floors were where missions were issued. Each floor had a hall that was close to 1,000 meters wide, but it was still filled to the brim with students who came to look for missions. After all, for most students, the only way to get more spirit stones for practice was to do tasks. The two of them looked at the notice board and saw that there were all kinds of missions posted on it. Some were to help nearby residents find cats, some were to help rich people walk their dogs, some were to hunt monsters for Nadans, and some were to help the government arrest thieves. Generally speaking, the more difficult the task, the higher the reward. Qin Haodong looked at it. Although some tasks paid a lot of money, they needed more time. Time was the last thing he could afford now. Zhao Xingyue said, "Brother Qin, which task do you think we should do?" Qin Haodong said, "I don't think these tasks are suitable for me. You can choose one if you need it." Zhao Xingyue said quickly, "How can I do that? How dare I do a task alone?" Qin Haodong was speechless for a while. This girl was really timid. Zhao Xingyue said timidly, "Brother Qin, why don't we go upstairs and have a look? Maybe there will be a task you're satisfied with." "Okay, let's go up." Qin Haodong also wanted to know as much as possible about the Black Tortoise College, so he went upstairs with Zhao Xingyue. The lower 3 floors of the task union were for issuing tasks. The tasks on each floor were more advanced than the previous one. However, Qin Haodong did not choose a task he was satisfied with after looking through all 3 floors. It was not that he could not complete these tasks, but that they took too much time. They came to the 4th floor and found that it was not a place for issuing tasks, but a place for students to trade. Here, students could barter with each other, trade by themselves, or sell what they had to the school in exchange for the spirit stones they needed. Qin Haodong walked around and found a student in a purple school uniform selling the nature elixir. He stepped forward and asked, "Senior, how much does this elixir cost?" The student said, 200 top-grade spirit stones. 200 top-grade spirit stones? Qin Haodong was shocked. He did not expect the price of the elixir to be so high. The student glanced at him and seemed to be very dissatisfied with his fuss. "What's so strange about it? This is a 4th-grade elixir. 200 spirit stones are very cheap." Qin Haodong was speechless. It seemed that elixirs were extremely valuable in this world. When he was on Earth, he once refined 36 nature elixirs at one time, but he gave them to Lin Momo. He had none in his hands. But it didn't matter. He could refine another batch and solve the problem of lack of money immediately. Thinking of this, he had already determined the direction of making money in the future, which was to refine elixirs and sell elixirs. He could earn spirit stones as fast as possible and improve his cultivation. After making up his mind, he left the task union with Zhao Xingyue and walked to the College of Pharmacists next to it. Chapter 865. They arrived at the School of Alchemists and inquired about it. The Alchemist Union of Xuanwu Kingdom had a branch here, selling medicinal materials and elixirs. They arrived at the Alchemist Union. The first floor was the Medicinal Material Sales Hall, which was about the same size as the Task Union, with an area of more than 1,000 square meters. Qin Haodong walked around and found that all kinds of precious medicinal materials were available, such as green snake fruit, soft fragrance grass, pearl grass, intoxicating dream flower, and all kinds of monsters nadans. The starry moon Bodhi seed was extremely rare on Earth, but it was just an ordinary medicinal material here. However, Qin Haodong was dumbfounded when he saw the price. One starry moon Bodhi seed costs 100 top-grade spirit stones. No wonder the creation pill was so expensive. If the price was too low, he couldn't even recover the cost. He had all the medicinal materials needed to refine the creation pill in his storage ring. He only lacked the starry moon Bodhi seed. The problem was that he was too poor now. He didn't even have a top-grade spirit stone in his pocket. It seemed that alchemy also required a cost. The most important thing now was to find a way to get the first bucket of gold. He asked the salesman of the union, "Can I borrow some medicinal materials here and pay for them after I refine the pill?" The salesman looked at him strangely and said, "I'm sorry, we don't have that kind of service here. You have to pay first." They had no choice but to leave the Alchemist Union. As soon as they walked out of the door, 3 students in blue came toward them. One of the thin students suddenly saw Zhao Xingyue and exclaimed, Brother, look, that girl is so beautiful. She's not inferior to our school's Jinghong fairy. A short fat student next to him said. Yes, brother, it's rare to see such a beautiful woman. And she's a new student who hasn't been discovered by others. This is a good opportunity to pursue her. The student who was called brother was called Dong Junjiang. He was about 185 meters tall. He was good-looking, but his eyes looked extremely wretched. At this time, his eyes were fixed on Zhao Xingyue, as if they were going to be nailed into her flesh. He didn't move at all. Brother, don't just stand there. Hurry up or this girl will go far. The short fat student raised his hand and pulled Dong Junjiang's sleeve. Oh! Dong Junjiang turned around and wiped the saliva from the corner of his mouth. He quickly walked up to the two of them. Junior sister, let me introduce myself. My name is Dong Junjiang, an old student of our school. In the future, as long as you mention me in this school, no one will dare to cause trouble for you. While speaking, he was still staring at Zhao Xingyue's face and ignored Qin Haodong. Seeing someone suddenly blocking her way, Zhao Xingyue. Who are you? I don't know you. Dong Qin smiled and said Dong and Dao Union and Dao Fairy and Zhao Xingyue said nervously. I don't want to be friends with you. Leave now. Boy girl and Su and Yang and Si. Hai Yang Hai Zhao Aildius town. The chunky young man said rudely to Qin Haodong. Did you hear that, boy? She will be my boss's girlfriend. Get out of my sight, or I'll beat you every time I see you. Zhao Xingyue was afraid that Qin Haodong would leave her alone, so she held his arm and said, Don't go, brother Qin. I'm scared. Don't worry. I'm here. Everything will be fine. Zhao Xingyue was the first person Qin Haodong had met on this continent, and she was his only friend. Naturally, he would not leave her alone. He glanced at the three people in front of him. No matter where he went, he would meet these annoying flies. Did you hear that? She doesn't like you. Go. Seeing that Qin Haodong did not take them seriously, the short fat student immediately stared at him and said, Boy, how dare you? Do you know who you are talking to? The skinny student said, That's right. You're just a freshman. What right do you have to talk to us like this? Qin Haodong frowned and said, Get out of here before I get angry. Boy, you're so arrogant. Dong Junjiang felt that he had lost face in front of the beauty, so he yelled, Do you know who I am? How dare you talk to me like this? The short fat student said, That's right. Do you think our boss can't do anything to you because the school forbids fighting? If you annoy our boss, you won't be able to stay in this school. The skinny student yelled, If you have the ability, come to the challenge platform with our boss. I promise you that your mother won't recognize you. Qin Haodong's heart skipped a beat. Among the three people, Dong Junjiang's cultivation was the highest, but he was only at the early stage of Huashan realm. The other two had just reached the late stage of Huashan realm. He thought of the rules of the school. If he went to the challenge platform and won, he would earn a sum of money. It was a good business. It seemed that God was kind to him. He was just about to doze off when he received a pillow. He looked at the three people and asked, Do you want to go to the challenge platform with me? Generally speaking, most of the new students who had just registered were at the early stage of Huashan realm, which was no match for the old students who had been cultivating for a few years. The three people just wanted to scare Qin Haodong, but they failed. At this time, Dong Junjiang had been fascinated by Zhao Xingyue. He would not flinch in front of the woman he liked. On the contrary, he was eager to show off his ability. He immediately said arrogantly, Boy, I challenge you. If you have the ability, come to the challenge platform with me and see how I teach you a lesson. Zhao Xingyue was timid. Seeing the three people's appearance, she immediately said timidly, Brother Qin, let's go. We are new students, and we can refuse the challenge of the old students. Hearing her words, the three people became more confident. They thought that Qin Haodong's cultivation was definitely not too high. Dong Junjiang yelled, Boy, if you are a man, come to the challenge platform with me, or give up the girl. The short fat man also yelled, If you are scared, get out of here. Stay away from our boss in the future. The skinny guy yelled, Girl, why do you follow such a useless man? You'd better follow our boss. I'm sure you'll be popular in the school. Qin Haodong was secretly amused, but he put on an indignant expression and said, Let's go. I'm not afraid of you. If you have the guts, let's go to the challenge platform now. I'll beat you until your mother can't recognize you. Dong Zhenjiang said to Zhao Xingyue with a smile. Junior sister, I'll show you what real ability is. In our school, you have to rely on your own cultivation. A gigolo is not popular at all. The challenge platform was not too far away from them. 10 minutes later, they arrived at the challenge platform. It was not much different from the arena on Earth, but it was wider, with an area of nearly 100 square meters. Also, it was strengthened by a formation and was unbreakable. There were nearly 1,000 seats around the challenge platform. Whenever there was a challenge, some busybody students would often come to watch. A big school like the Black Tortoise Institute, with nearly 10,000 students, had disputes every day. People often came here to challenge. The school had teachers on duty here to accept the challenge applications of students. As an old student, Dong Zhenjiang was very familiar with the challenge procedures. He first paid 10 best-grade spirit stones and then said to the short fat man, Ma Dong, go and teach this guy a lesson. He was extremely arrogant and thought that it would be a shame for him to deal with a new student. So he asked the fat man Ma Dong to do it. Don't worry, boss. I'll beat this gigolo so hard that his mother won't recognize him. Ma Dong jumped onto the challenge platform. Qin Haodong followed him. The teacher on duty was already standing in the middle of the platform as the referee. The school's rule for the challenge was that injuries were allowed, but no deaths were allowed. The referee was Wang Dalai, an expert at the early void refinement stage. He had to ensure the safety of both sides. At this time, nearly 100 students had gathered below the platform to watch the fun. Seeing a new student who had just registered accepted the challenge of a third-year student, everyone could not help but talk about it. Who is this guy? He really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. He dares to accept the challenge of a senior student when he just arrived at the school. Isn't he looking for death? Does he not know the rules of our school? Doesn't he know that juniors can refuse challenges from seniors? Is this a new student? He's so handsome. If he can win, I'll consider being his girlfriend. On the platform, after confirming that there was no problem with both sides, Wang Dalai shouted, Get ready. The challenge begins. Ma Dong smiled coldly. Gigolo. Today I'll show you the gap between a new student and a senior student. Whirlwind Dragon Kick. As a third-year student, he was very confident in his cultivation at the late nascent soul stage. So he used a very fancy move at the beginning. His whole body rose into the air, and his 2 feet kicked out consecutively, like 2 roaring dragons kicking towards Qin Haodong's head. For a player of this level, Qin Haodong could slap him to death with one slap. But he did not want to expose too much of his cultivation. The most important thing now was to earn enough spirit stones. If his performance was too strong, it would be difficult in the future. Therefore, he also suppressed his cultivation to the late nascent soul stage, and did not use his full strength. After fighting for more than 10 minutes, he used a move that seemed to hurt both sides. First, he let Ma Dong punch him in the chest, and then he was kicked off the platform. Seeing that the new student who had just registered had defeated a third-year student, the audience immediately began to cheer and applaud Qin Haodong. Dong Zhenjiang's face immediately darkened. He did not expect that his man would lose the game. Now, not only did he have to take out 10 top-grade spirit stones to give to his opponent, but he also lost face. How could he raise his head in front of Zhao Xingyue? Qin Haodong covered his chest and pretended to be in pain as he walked down the platform. Zhao Xingyue immediately greeted him with concern. Brother Qin, are you okay? He shook his head and said, I'm fine. Then he said to Dong Zhenjiang next to him, How about it? Are you convinced? Being slapped in the face by a new student, Dong Zhenjiang said with a red face, Boy, why are you so arrogant? If you have the ability, let's fight again. Zhao Xingyue quickly said, You can't fight anymore. Brother Qin is already injured. Qin Haodong was secretly amused. With this timid little girl next to him, he didn't even need to act. He was completely acting. He said angrily, Why not? As long as you dare to challenge me, I dare to accept. Good boy, wait and see. Dong Junjiang paid another 10 top-grade spirit stones as a challenge fee, and then said to another skinny student, Lu Fei, this time you go. You must earn back the face you lost. Don't worry, boss. I will earn back the face for you this time. In terms of cultivation, Lu Fei and Ma Dong were not much different. They were both at the late nascent soul stage. But at the moment, he was full of confidence, because he saw that Qin Haodong was already an arrow at the end of its flight, and was injured. It was impossible for Qin Haodong to be his opponent. Chapter 866. Is there something wrong with this freshman's head? It's good enough that he won one game. Does he want to defeat 2 senior students in a row? Just now, both sides were injured. He has been beaten like this, but he still dared to accept the challenge. There must be something wrong with his head. Didn't you see that he was fighting for the girl next to him? If I had such a beautiful girlfriend, I would be willing to die. There was a lot of discussion among the onlookers. They were not optimistic about Qin Haodong's next game. Under the host of Wang Dalai, the second round of challenges began. The situation on the field seemed to confirm everyone's guess. Qin Haodong was beaten back, and seemed to be unable to hold on any longer. He always seemed to be a little bit away from losing, but this little bit was always maintained. Lu Fei became more and more anxious, and his moves became more and more complicated, so there were more and more loopholes. In the end, the situation of the last game was repeated again, and both sides were injured. In the end, Lu Fei was kicked off the challenge stage by Qin Haodong, and he spat out a big mouthful of blood. Of course, this was all an illusion. The blood that Qin Haodong spat out was actually the ketchup that he had hidden and swallowed when no one was paying attention. Seeing that Qin Haodong was vomiting blood, Zhao Xingyue rushed to the stage to hold him and asked with concern, Brother Qin, how are you? Are you okay? Qin Haodong thought to himself, this girl can be selected for the best supporting actress. She always comes up to help me at the critical moment. I'm fine. I won't die. He put on a stubborn expression and said to Dong Junjiang again, How about it? Are you convinced? Dong Junjiang hated him to death. He didn't expect that his 2 younger brothers were so useless that they failed to win 2 games in a row. He said, Boy, I underestimated you. Do you dare to fight with me? This person is too shameless. It is obvious that he has already fought twice and was injured, but he still wants to challenge. He is vomiting blood. I think as long as there is nothing wrong with his head, he will definitely not accept the challenge. I know him. He is Dong Junjiang, a third-year student. He has reached the early stage of the divine transformation realm, which is not comparable to those in the Yuaning realm. Qin Haodong was secretly happy. He was about to get the 30 top-grade spirit stones. Why wouldn't I dare? I've already told you, as long as you dare to challenge me, I dare to accept. When everyone thought that Qin Haodong would refuse the challenge, a surprising scene happened. The young man in front of them, who was still wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, agreed again. Dong Junjiang didn't care about this at all. A cold smile appeared on his face. Good, your courage is commendable. Do you dare to bet with me again? Although he had some money, he had just paid 20 top-quality spirit stones, and lost another 20 top-quality spirit stones. These 40 top-quality spirit stones still made his heart ache. He wanted to get it back from the person in front of him. Qin Haodong asked, What do you want? Dong Junjiang said, Let's bet 50 top-grade spirit stones. Do you dare? Qin Haodong was slightly stunned. He was short of top-grade spirit stones, but this guy raised the price to 50 at once. At this rate, he would get his first bucket of gold. Seeing his expression, Dong Junjiang thought that he was afraid and hurriedly said again, Say something. Do you dare or not? Qin Haodong put on a cowardly look and said, But I don't have that much money with me. He really only had 20 top-grade spirit stones now, and he didn't know the rules here. If he bet in advance, he really didn't have that much money. Dong Junjiang said, It doesn't matter. We can sign a bet on the challenge platform, and pay after you lose. Looking at the freshman in front of him, Wang Dalei said with some sympathy. Young man, we do have this rule on the challenge platform, and the school does not prohibit people from gambling. But the upper limit of the gambling money is 100 top-grade spirit stones, not too much. If you lose, you must pay the money to the other party within 1 day, or you will be expelled from the school. He originally wanted to persuade the new student to back off, but he didn't expect that Qin Haodong would be so excited after hearing this. He was sure to win this bet. No matter how much he bet, he would give money to him. Zhao Xingyue pulled the corner of his clothes and said anxiously, Brother Qin, we can't bet. She knew very well that Qin Haodong didn't have 50 top-grade spirit stones. Once he lost, he would be expelled from the Black Tortoise Academy. Don't worry about me. I can't stand it. Qin Haodong put on an angry look and said, 50 top-grade spirit stones is nothing. If you want to bet, let's make it bigger. Give me 100 top-grade spirit stones. Okay, let's do it. We'll sign the contract right away. Dong Zhenjiang swept away his depression just now. He was sure to win this bet. If the other party paid 100 top-grade spirit stones, it would be a small fortune. If he couldn't afford it, and was expelled from the Black Tortoise Academy, then this beautiful girl would be his. Wang Dalei took the contract and asked again, Student, have you really thought about it? Once you sign the contract, you're not allowed to repent? Qin Haodong nodded and said, Yes. Wang Dalei shook his head helplessly. It was really a romantic to die under a peony flower. But since Qin Haodong insisted, he couldn't say anything more. He made 3 copies of the contract, gave one to Qin Haodong and one to himself, and kept one for himself on the challenge platform. Dong Zhenjiang put away the contract with a smile, then took out 10 top-grade spirit stones, and gave them to Wang Dalei. Then he jumped onto the challenge platform, but to his surprise Qin Haodong, who was following closely behind him, was no longer dispirited and listless. He seemed to be in high spirits, and did not look injured at all. He asked, Boy, were you pretending just now? Nothing, I was just teasing you. Qin Haodong said with a smile. Since the contract had been signed, it was equivalent to getting 100 top-grade spirit stones, so there was no need for him to pretend anymore. On the spectator stand sat a little girl in a white school uniform. Her hair was tied up in 2 ponytails, and her round face looked chubby. She was both pretty and cute. What was strange was that there were many people gathered on the stand, but there was no one around her. Everyone had a tacit understanding to stay far away, leaving a small empty space. At this time, the little girl saw the situation on the platform and giggled. This guy is really interesting. I haven't seen such a fun freshman for a long time. As she spoke, she ate the fruit in her hand. Boy, even if you hide your strength, what's the use? You will be defeated by me in the end. Dong Zhenjiang said so, but his expression was extremely dignified. He reached out and took out a silver spear from the storage ring. On the challenge platform, you could use any of your best skills, and he was best at spear techniques. He shook the spear in his hand and shouted, Qin, take out your weapon. Qin Haodong put his hands behind his back and said lightly, I don't need it to deal with a nobody like you. Who the hell is this freshman? He's really awesome. He dares to shout at Dong Zhenjiang like this. Wasn't this guy injured just now? Was it all an act? I don't think so. He may be pretending now, using some special method to suppress his injury. Qin Haodong ignored these people and shouted to Dong Zhenjiang, Come on, don't waste time. Feeling the other party's contempt, Dong Zhenjiang was furious. The long spear in his hand shook. With the infusion of spiritual qi, the tip of the spear glowed with a dazzling red light. Almost in the blink of an eye, it was in front of Qin Haodong's throat. Looking at Qin Haodong's lightning-like strength, Zhao Xingyue shouted nervously under the stage. Wang Dalei also looked serious, observing the situation in the field with full attention. Once Qin Haodong was in danger, he would immediately rescue him. Only the little girl sitting in the stands was eating her fruit with relish, a very cute smile on her face. Under the gaze of countless people, Dong Zhenjiang's spear, which was as fast as a dragon, instantly arrived in front of Qin Haodong. Just when everyone was holding their breath nervously, the spear suddenly stopped. It could not move forward even half an inch away from Qin Haodong's throat, and there was a big white hand lying on the spear shaft. All the spectators were students of the Black Tortoise Academy. At this moment, they were so surprised that their mouths were wide open. To be able to hold Dong Zhenjiang's spear with his bare hands meant that he was at least in the middle stage of the divine transformation realm. It was obvious that this freshman was far from being as simple as he looked. "It's my turn," Qin Haodong shouted. With a sharp sound, his left fist suddenly smashed toward Dong Zhenjiang's face. Feeling the overwhelming fist intent, Dong Zhenjiang's pupils shrank. A look of horror flashed in his eyes. This person was much stronger than he had imagined. However, he was still a third-year student at the university, and an expert in the early stage of the divine transformation realm. In the face of the fist that was constantly enlarging in front of him, he immediately gave up the spear in his hand and took 2 steps back. With a thought, another silver spear appeared in his hand. With the spear in hand, Dong Zhenjiang once again burst out with monstrous fighting intent. The spiritual qi in his body ran to the extreme. After a loud roar, the spear shook violently, creating dozens of afterimages. The red light in the sky drowned Qin Haodong. His opponent's spear power slightly surprised Qin Haodong, but that was all. He threw away the spear in his hand and punched with his right hand, directly hitting the spear that was stabbing toward him. Dong Zhenjiang was shocked. He had used the phantom spear technique that he was best at, but he did not expect it to have no effect on his opponent. Instead, it had directly found the body of the spear. Then a cracking sound was heard. Qin Haodong's punch had forcibly broken the spear made of fine steel into 2 pieces. He then slightly leaned to the side and approached Dong Zhenjiang's arms. 8 Extremes Fist Mountain Lean. Qin Haodong only used 1/10 of his strength, but it was something that Dong Zhenjiang could not resist at all. His body suddenly shot backward like an arrow leaving the bow, and he began to spit out mouthfuls of blood in midair. What he spat out was not ketchup, but real blood. He then fell to the ground with a thud. Everyone present was stunned, including Wang Dalei, who stood there in a daze. He even forgot to announce the result of the match. 1 move. Qin Haodong defeated Dong Zhenjiang, a third-year student, with only 1 move. His strength was amazing. After a while, the crowd immediately became restless. So powerful, where did this freshman come from? He's even more powerful than a third-year student. He's too strong, handsome, and capable. I feel like I'm going to fall in love. Come on, don't you see how beautiful the girl beside him is? How could she fall in love with you? At this moment, another person shouted, "I recognize him. He's the newcomer king of the freshmen, who reported in today. He has the cultivation of the late stage of soul formation. No wonder he could defeat Dong Zhenjiang." Hearing that person's shout, Dong Zhenjiang, who had just stood up, spat out another mouthful of blood. "He's only at the late stage of soul formation, and he's pretending to be like this. Isn't he playing with me?" Chapter 867. Dong Zhenjiang was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Originally, he thought that the other party was just a freshman with a low cultivation, so he wanted to step on him and show off his prestige as a senior student. At the same time, he could also pick up some beautiful female juniors. However, she didn't expect this guy to be so cunning. He was clearly a soul formation late-stage cultivator, but he acted like a little lamb. Now, not only had he lost all his face, but he had also lost more than 100 best quality spirit stones, which was his entire fortune. Qin Haodong didn't care so much. He said to Wang Dalei, "Mr. Wang, do I win this battle?" Wang Dalei nodded and said, "Of course you won." Qin Haodong jumped in front of Dong Zhenjiang and said, "You lost the bet. Pay up now." Dong Zhenjiang wanted to go back on his word, but when he saw Wang Dalei beside him, he held himself back. No one could go against the school's rules unless they wanted to be expelled. In desperation, he took out 100 top-grade spirit stones from his storage ring and gave them to Qin Haodong. "I was worried about not having enough money. Thank you." Qin Haodong grabbed the best grade spirit stones, together with the 20 he had obtained before. He now had 120 best grade spirit stones, which was enough to buy the Star Moon Bodhi seed. The pitiful Dong Zhenjiang spat out another mouthful of blood. He pointed at Qin Haodong and shouted, "Boy, how dare you trick me? Wait and see. My brother will avenge me. If you have spirit stones, you can come find me anytime." Qin Haodong happily put the 120 top-grade spirit stones into the storage ring, and then left with Zhao Xingyue happily. "Big brother Qin, you're amazing. You've gotten so much money so quickly," Zhao Xingyue said with a face full of admiration, her eyes full of little stars. Qin Haodong pinched her delicate little nose and said with a smile, "I have to thank you. If you weren't so beautiful, those fools wouldn't have come to me." "Brother Qin, you're not allowed to laugh at me." A hint of shyness flashed across Zhao Xingyue's face. She then said, "I'm hungry. Let's go eat." "All right, we've earned so much money. Let's go celebrate." "Great, I want to eat delicious food." Zhao Xingyue took Qin Haodong's arm, and they went to the cafeteria of Xuanwu College together. It was time for dinner, and the cafeteria was crowded. Qin Haodong took a seat. Because he was not familiar with the food here, he waited here and asked Zhao Xingyue to buy food. Not long after, Zhao Xingyue, Qin Haodong and Qin and Qin Haodong, Qin and Xingyue, a Qin and two. It was like boiling water. Zhao Xingyue didn't care about this. She picked up a piece of meat with her chopsticks and put it in her mouth. She nodded and said, "It's delicious. Brother Qin, try it. The dishes here are really delicious. They're almost as good as Wang, as good as the chef at home." "She to say time, she to Qin time," she said. Qin nervous and seemed to say, "And, Qin but dong. Qin time. Up. As. Qin that the food taste. To say. She up." Qin Haodong picked up his chopsticks, and picked up a piece of meat that Zhao Xingyue ate, and put it into his mouth. But he spat it into the trash can next to him after chewing it twice. "Pa, what is this? It's hard and dry. Not only does it not taste good, it also has a fishy smell. There's no taste at all. How am I supposed to eat this dish?" Looking at him, Zhao Xingyue asked in confusion, "What's wrong, brother Qin? I think this dish is very delicious. You haven't eaten delicious food before. Come, let's go back. Big brother Qin will cook something delicious for you." Qin Haodong had noticed that the food culture here could not be compared with that of Huaxia on Earth. However, this was not surprising. Even for the Chinese people before the Song dynasty, they basically boiled dishes. It was only after the Song dynasty that various fancy cooking methods, such as frying, stir-frying, stewing, and deep-frying appeared. Moreover, in the whole world, no nation could compare to China in terms of food. It was the same in the cultivation world. He basically cooked his own meals. It was a pity that he only had cooking skills at that time. But he didn't have good ingredients. But now it was different. He had stored a lot of delicious food in the storage ring. And he had taken away the warehouse of the alien demons before coming here. It was no exaggeration to say that the food in the storage ring was enough for several people to eat for 100 years. Zhao Xingyue had eaten the food here since she was a child, so she didn't feel anything strange. However, seeing that Qin Haodong insisted, she obediently followed him back to the dormitory. At this time the sun was setting. Only a touch of golden sunlight fell in the yard, but the heat had subsided a little. Qin Haodong took out a table and a few chairs, and put them in the yard. Then he took out pots and pans and began to cook. Seeing that he took out a lot of things that she had never seen before, Zhao Xingyue asked curiously, "Brother Qin, what are you doing? You'll know later. I'm sure you'll want to eat again after this time." Because of the hot weather, Qin Haodong made a spicy pot. This dish was a combination of the spicy flavors of Sichuan and Chongqing. It was not only delicious, but also had a strong aroma, so it was called spicy pot. When he finished making a pot of spicy and fragrant mala saucepan, a rich aroma filled the air, drifting for 10 miles. "Brother Qin, what is this? Is it delicious?" Although the spiritual qi was rich in the Lingwu continent, there was no such thing as chili and pepper. Zhao Xingyue looked at the spicy pot in front of her with full of curiosity. Qin Haodong picked up a lotus slice with chopsticks and put it into his mouth. It tastes good. Have a taste. It's much better than the garbage in the canteen. Zhao Xingyue had never eaten this thing before. She followed Qin Haodong's example and put a lotus slice in her mouth. At first, she was a little careful, but after chewing twice, her beautiful eyes suddenly widened, and the frequency of chewing also increased. It's delicious, it's really delicious. Since they met, Zhao Xingyue had maintained the image of a lady from a noble family. Her words and deeds, including eating, were gentle and reasonable, both elegant and dignified. But at this moment, her taste buds and brain had been completely occupied by the spicy pot. There was no other consciousness in her mind except for the delicious food. Ham, fish, tofu, potato slices. One delicious food after another were quickly sent into her red little mouth. Ah, delicious, it's really delicious. However, Zhao Xingyue, who had never eaten spicy food, soon suffered and kept fanning her burning mouth and tongue with her hands. What's this taste? It's so strange. Looking at Zhao Xingyue, who was so spicy, Qin Haodong said with a smile, "This is called spicy food. It's a very delicious taste. You'll get used to it later." Zhao Xingyue stuck out her tongue and said, "It's delicious, but it's really spicy." "It doesn't matter. You can take a sip of this," Qin Haodong said as he gave Zhao Xingyue a glass of beer chilled with iced genuine qi. It was midsummer at this time. In the hot evening, eating spicy pot and drinking a glass of cold beer were a perfect match. Zhao Xingyue took the beer and took a big gulp. She felt comfortable from head to toe. She couldn't help but cry. "It's so cool. What's the taste? It's a little strange." Qin Haodong said, "This is called beer. If you're not used to it, I have other drinks here." Then he gave Zhao Xingyue an open bottle of iced Sprite. Zhao Xingyue took another sip and couldn't help but praise. "This is good. I still like to drink this." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "Drink it if you like. I have a lot here." "Brother Qin, where did you get so many delicacies? I've never eaten such delicious food before." Qin Haodong said, "I don't know. They were all left to me by my master." He blamed all the unexplainable things on his master, who had never been there. At this time, Zhao Xingyue couldn't care less. She attacked the spicy pot again. At this time, more than a dozen people surrounded Qin Haodong's dormitory. They were the students of the Black Tortoise Academy who lived nearby. They were all attracted by the strong aroma of the spicy pot. These people smelled the aroma of the spicy pot and watched the two people in the yard eat happily. They couldn't help but swallow their saliva. The aroma was so delicious that they had never smelled such a strong aroma. Although they were all cultivators, they were far from the level of the divine realm, which was above the world. A fat man in purple clothes in front said, "Junior, what kind of food is this? Why is it so fragrant?" Qin Haodong put down his chopsticks, took a sip of cold beer, and said to these people, "This is called spicy pot." The fat man and those people couldn't stand it anymore. They opened the courtyard door and walked in. The fatty took a look at the spicy fragrant pot, which looked and smelled good, and swallowed his saliva. "Junior brother, junior sister, can you let us have a taste of this delicacy? We can pay." Qin Haodong's heart moved. Although he had 120 top-grade spirit stones, he was still a poor man in this academy. It seemed that these people were rich, so he could earn some spirit stones from them. Thinking of this, he said, "Well, I can sell some to you. 1 top-grade spirit stone for 1. 1 top-grade spirit stone for 1? Isn't it too expensive?" These people were all shocked. 1 top-grade spirit stone was enough for them to eat in the canteen for a week. Qin Haodong said, "It's not expensive at all. You can't buy the food here no matter how much money you spend." Then he picked up a piece of brightly colored ham and put it into his mouth, eating it happily. He was very confident about the spicy pot. No one in the whole Lingwu continent could make it. As the saying goes, rare goods can be hoarded. It was very cheap to sell it for 1 top-grade spirit stone. Smelling the rich aroma, the fat man couldn't help but take out a top-grade spirit stone and put it in front of Qin Haodong. "Brother, my name is Zhang Dapeng. I live next to you. Give me one first. No problem. Qin Haodong took out a set of plates and put a spicy pot in front of him. Zhang Daping took the chopsticks, put a potato chip in his mouth, chewed it a few times, and immediately showed an intoxicated look on his face. Bro, is it delicious? Say something quickly. Say it quickly. Does it smell good, but it doesn't taste good? Tell me quickly if it's delicious. I'm dying of anxiety. The people next to them all looked at Zhang Daping eagerly. At this time, the fat man was not in the mood to care about them. He gobbled up the spicy pot in the blink of an eye. Ah, delicious. Delicious. So spicy, so spicy. Zhang Daping was satisfied, but he was also uncomfortable because of the spiciness. He looked at the golden beer in front of Qin Haodong and said, Junior, can you give me a glass of this? Qin Haodong said happily, No problem. 1 top-grade spirit stone for 1 glass. Chapter 868. Here, give me a glass. Zhang Daping threw out a top-grade spirit stone, grabbed a glass of iced beer, and drank it all in one breath. Comfortable, refreshing, it's really beautiful. Zhang Daping was originally a foodie. A spicy pot and a glass of iced beer could not satisfy him at all. He immediately took out a handful of top-grade spirit stones and threw them in front of Qin Haodong. Junior brother, what delicious food do you have? Give me more. I want 10 glasses of this wine. Seeing that he took out so many top-grade spirit stones so readily, needless to say, the others also knew that the spicy pot was a rare delicacy. They immediately took out money and shouted for a serving as soon as possible. Qin Haodong put away the top-grade spirit stones and happily got busy. Soon he made a large pot of spicy pot, and countless iced beers were distributed. Brother, I really admire your cooking. I've lived for so many years, but I've never eaten such delicious food. After drinking several bottles of beer, Zhang Daping was a little drunk. He reached out and put his arm around Qin Haodong's shoulder. In the future, I won't cultivate anymore when I make money. I'll come here to buy spicy pot and drink iced beer. A student next to him laughed and said, Fatty Zhang, don't you dream of passing the tribulation and becoming an immortal as soon as possible? Have you given up your dream? Zhang Daping picked up the beer and said with a smile, With this delicious food, I'm as happy as an immortal. There's no need for me to ascend. They were about the same age, so they were more familiar with each other after eating and drinking. Zhang Daping said, Junior brother, you've just arrived at our academy. Why haven't I seen you before? Qin Haodong said, We're freshmen this year. We just registered today. Brother Qin is this year's newcomer king. His cultivation has already reached the divine transformation realm, which is a little higher than mine. It's really enviable. It was another tall and thin student who spoke. He happened to be present when Qin Haodong and Dong Zhenjiang challenged each other, and saw the whole process clearly. He added, Brother Qin, I watched your challenge with Dong Zhenjiang. You're really young and promising. But I have to remind you that Dong Zhenjiang's cultivation is nothing at all. But he has a powerful elder brother, Dong Zhenhai, a 4th-year student. Zhang Daping said in surprise, What? Did you teach Dong Zhenjiang a lesson? Qin Haodong briefly told him what had happened. After listening, Zhang Daping said, Dong Zhenjiang is really annoying. Relying on the power of his brother Dong Zhenhai, he flirts with girls everywhere and bullies new students. It's great to teach him a lesson. However, you have to be careful. Dong Zhenhai is very protective of his people. Since you hit his brother, I'm afraid he'll come looking for you. Qin Haodong asked, Brother Zhang, who is Dong Zhenhai? It sounds pretty powerful. You've just arrived at our academy, so there are some things you don't know yet. Let me tell you, our academy has the top 10 experts. These people are absolutely not to be provoked. Qin Haodong was new here, so he didn't know much about the situation in Black Tortoise College. When he heard the title of the top 10 masters, he asked with great interest, Brother Zhang, tell me, who are the top 10 masters? Zhang Daping raised his head and drank all the beer in his glass. Then he said, The top 10 experts of our academy are summarized as 5 dragons and 3 phoenixes, 1 immortal, and 1 demon. Dong Zhenhai is one of the 5 dragons. Hearing him talking excitedly, Zhao Xingyue also put down the chopsticks in her hand and listened. Zhang Dapeng continued. We call the capable students dragons and phoenixes. Men are dragons and women are phoenixes. The 5 dragons are the 5 most outstanding male students, from the 2nd grade to the 4th grade. They are Xiao Yulong Xuepan, He Kaishan, Jiang Qingzhou and Dong Zhenhai. The 3 phoenixes are Yin Qianqian, Fang Qiong and Song Junyu. The immortal is Morong Jinghong, and the demon is Luo Hongying. Although Dong Zhenhai ranks last among the top 10 masters, his strength is tyrannical. He has reached the early stage of the void refinement stage, which is comparable to some low-level teachers in the school. Moreover, this person is extremely protective. Since you hit Dong Zhenjiang, he will definitely come looking for trouble. Qin Haodong didn't care about this. As long as he had enough spirit stones, it was only a matter of time before he broke through to the void refinement stage. Brother Zhang, who is the most powerful among the 10? Zhang Daping said. It's hard to say. Some say it's Morong Jinghong, and some say it's Luo Hongying. Qin Haodong asked. Why is it hard to say? Haven't they fought each other? It's very complicated. Zhang Daping took a big gulp of beer. Just as he was about to have a good chat, a girl dressed in white suddenly appeared at the entrance of the courtyard. Her hair was combed into 2 braids, and her round cheeks had a little baby fat on them. She looked beautiful and cute. It smells so good. What are you eating? What's so fragrant? The girl sniffed hard, showing an intoxicated expression. The corners of her mouth were sparkling, and it seemed that she was drooling. Oh my God, the little witch is here. Run! Someone shouted, and the people who were eating happily suddenly scattered like birds and beasts. In an instant, there was no one left. Zhang Dapeng didn't even have time to drink the remaining half glass of beer. He lifted his butt and ran away. What's going on? Seeing everyone's reaction, Qin Haodong and Zhao Xingyue were a little confused. Wasn't it just a little girl and a freshman student? Was she so scary? At this time, the little girl had already jumped into the yard. She looked at the spicy pot and licked her lips hard. She said pitifully, Little brother, can you give me some? Qin Haodong said, 1 top-grade spirit stone for the spicy pot, and 1 top-grade spirit stone for a cup of beer. The little girl said pitifully, Little brother, but I have no money and I really want to eat. Qin Haodong looked at her. Her greedy expression was very much like his daughter Tang Tang. Thinking of the little fellow on earth, he couldn't help feeling warm. He didn't even accept the spirit stone and said, You can eat. I won't charge you. Great, thank you, little brother. The little girl pulled a chair and sat down. She picked up the chopsticks and ate quickly. It's delicious, it's really delicious. The little girl looked very slender, but her appetite was shockingly big. Soon, she finished the whole pot of spicy fragrant pot. It's so spicy. She stuck out her tongue cutely, took the Sprite that Qin Haodong handed over and drank it up. Little brother, how did you make such delicious food? Can I come here to eat more often in the future? Qin Haodong patted her on the head and said, Yes, I'll cook delicious food for you when you come. Little brother, you're so nice. The little girl said excitedly, My name is Luo Hongying. Everyone calls me Little Witch. I'll protect you in Black Tortoise Academy from now on. So if anyone dares to bully you, just say my name. Qin Haodong was slightly stunned. He didn't expect that the cute little girl in front of him was the famous Little Witch, one of the top 10 masters of Black Tortoise Academy. If those people hadn't been scared and fled, he would have thought that he had made a mistake. At the same time, he was very confused. Luo Hongying's cultivation was only at the late stage of God transformation, which was not much different from Zhang Dapeng's. How could she become one of the top 10 masters of Black Tortoise Academy and have a chance to become the top master? He asked, Little sister, why were those people so afraid of you just now? Luo Hongying said, I've taught a few of them a lesson, especially that fatty. I once summoned a slug to sleep with him for 1 night. He was so disgusted that he couldn't eat for a month. After that he ran away when he saw me. The little girl giggled as she spoke, as if she was talking about something extremely amusing. Zhao Xingyue was very close to her. When she heard about summoning a slug, She suddenly felt numb all over, and quietly moved a little to the side. Qin Haodong somewhat understood what was going on and asked, "Are you a summoner?" Luo Hongying said, "Yes, I'm a summoner." Qin Haodong asked, "It seems that you've been in the academy for some years, and you're one of the top 10 masters. Why are you still wearing the freshman uniform?" "It's a long story. Little brother, do you have any delicious food? I'll tell you while eating." The little girl looked at Qin Haodong pitifully as she spoke. "This is for you." Qin Haodong said as he took out a plate of golden roast chicken wings and gave it to her. "Oh my god, this is so delicious." Luo Hongying grabbed a chicken wing and finished it in a few bites. Then, she began to tell her story. "When I was 16 years old, I had reached the late stage of soul formation and entered the Black Tortoise Academy. But from then on, the Holy Spirit body was awakened and I became a summoner. Since then my cultivation has not increased. Now I'm 20 years old, but I'm still at the late stage of soul formation. Our school has special rules for promotion. Promotion has nothing to do with the level of cultivation, but depends on the extent of your growth. For example, when you enter the school, you are at the early stage of soul formation. Only when you reach the middle stage of soul formation can you become a second-year student." Qin Haodong nodded and asked, "But I just heard that you're one of the top 10 masters in the academy and can even compete with Morong Jinghong, the Jinghong fairy. What's going on?" "I'm a summoner. Of course, I rely on summoning magical beasts to fight," Luo Hongying said while gnawing on the chicken wing. "I fought with Morong Jinghong twice. I won once and lost once, so it was a draw." Qin Haodong said, "Our academy should also have rules for summoners to advance. You can't always stay in the first grade, right?" "There is. The academy also has a special assessment for summoners. As long as you pass the assessment, you can also advance. It's a pity that I'm unlucky," the little girl said angrily. "Although I'm a summoner, I have the Holy Spirit body. When the old man first said it, I thought it was awesome. Later, I realized that this bullshit Holy Spirit body was not accurate at all. Every time I summon a creature, it's different. Sometimes it's very powerful, and sometimes it's pitifully weak. I might summon a top demonic dragon or an ant. I've gone through 4 assessments over the years, and the first time I summoned a 5-colored guinea fowl. This thing has no combat power except for its beautiful cry. I was so angry that I roasted it and ate it. Maybe the old man's cooking skills are not good. That 5-colored guinea fowl doesn't taste good at all. It can't be compared with the chicken wings made by little brother." Qin Haodong was speechless. This little girl was really a foodie. She actually ate the summoned magical beast. Luo Hongying continued. "In the second assessment, I summoned a rabbit. In the third assessment, I summoned a mouse. In the fourth assessment, I actually summoned a sheep. It was really infuriating. So I repeated 4 years in a row, and am still in the first grade." Qin Haodong looked at the little girl's angry face and couldn't help laughing. "Is it because you're unlucky or you're not strong enough? Have you ever summoned a powerful demonic beast?" Chapter 869. Of course. Otherwise, why would those people be so afraid of me? The little girl said with a proud face. "Last time when I challenged Morong Jinghong, I summoned a 6th-ranked demon beast Earth Bear. If she didn't rely on the sharpness of her sword, she wouldn't have been able to beat me. That's not the most powerful time. When I was practicing with the old man, I summoned an 8th-ranked demon beast, Hell Phoenix. The old man was so scared that he turned around and ran away." Qin Haodong secretly smacked his lips. An 8th-ranked demon beast was comparable to a cultivator at the Mahayana stage. Anyone would run away when they saw it. However, the strength of the little girl in front of him was too uncertain. She was the most unreliable summoner. No wonder no one was sure who was the #1 master. The little girl ate while talking. It didn't take long for her to finish the plate of braised chicken wings in front of her. At the same time, she drank 2 glasses of Sprite. She burped and patted her belly without caring about her image. "Little brother, the food you made is so delicious that it's going to kill me." At this moment, There was a noise at the entrance of the courtyard. More than a dozen people came in from the outside. The leader was a young man in his 20s. He looked very similar to Dong Junjiang. He was his brother, Dong Junhai, who ranked 10th in the Black Tortoise Academy. Feeling that these people came with bad intentions, Zhao Xingyue quickly hid behind Qin Haodong and grabbed his arm nervously. After entering the door, Dong Junjiang pointed to Qin Haodong and shouted, "Big brother, this is the guy who pretended to be a pig to eat a tiger. Not only did he beat me, but he also cheated more than 100 top-grade spirit stones. You must help me vent my anger." Dong Junhai looked at Qin Haodong with disdain in his eyes. He said arrogantly, "You're just a student who has just registered. How dare you play such dirty tricks in the academy? Hurry up and return my brother's spirit stones and apologize to him. Otherwise, you won't be able to survive in Black Tortoise Academy in the future." A few followers next to him also shouted, "That's right. How dare you cheat our brother Dong's spirit stones? Are you tired of living? Hurry up and take out the money. Otherwise, we'll beat you until your mother can't recognize you. Boy, hurry up and kowtow to my brother Dong. Otherwise, you won't be able to survive in Black Tortoise Academy. What are you shouting for? Xianwu Academy is opened by your family, yet you're talking big." Luo Hongying threw the chopsticks in her hand on the table, turned around and shouted at these people. "Who dares to shout in my little brother's house? Do you want to die?" The little she-devil had just eaten with her back to the courtyard door, and these people went straight to Qin Haodong after coming in, so they didn't notice her at all. "Who is it? How dare you talk to our big brother like that?" Dong Zhenjiang was beaten up and lost more than 100 top-quality spirit stones. Now that he had his big brother to back him up, he wanted to vent his anger. However, when he saw Luo Hongying's cute face, he was so scared that he was like a rooster that was strangled. He didn't dare to say anything else. Little witch. Not only was Dong Zhenjiang dumbfounded, but everyone present was also stunned. They never thought that they would meet Luo Hongying here. Although Dong Junhai was not as fearful as the others, his expression became grave. Didn't they say that this kid just registered today? How did he get involved with this little devil? It seemed that their relationship was not shallow. "Luo Hongying, why are you here?" After all, he was one of the top 10 masters in the campus. Although he was afraid of the little devil, he still needed to save his face. He couldn't just turn around and run away. The little devil clapped her hands and walked to Qin Haodong's side. She took his other arm and said, "Dong Junhai, I tell you this is my little brother. If you make trouble for him, it is equal to making trouble for me. Get out of here." Qin Haodong looked at Dong Junhai. He had reached the early stage of void refinement, which was much stronger than his idiot brother. He hadn't had time to improve his cultivation. If they really fought, it would be a bit troublesome. In this case, it was best to let the little devil handle it. Seeing the little devil openly protecting Qin Haodong, Dong Junhai said with a sullen face, "Luo Hongying, this kid publicly cheated my brother of more than 100 top-quality spirit stones. Even if you protect him, you should at least give us an explanation." "Dong Junhai, don't you have any shame?" Luo Hongying pointed at Dong Zhenjiang's nose and shouted, "I saw what happened today clearly. It was your idiot brother, who didn't know what was good for him. He insisted on dragging people onto the stage, and even made a bet with them. Now he lost and is not convinced, so he asked you to support him. Do you really think the Black Tortoise Academy is owned by your family?" Dong Zhenjiang said unconvinced. He pretended to be a pig to eat a tiger. If he didn't hide his cultivation, and directly showed that he was at the late stage of soul formation, why would I challenge him? In that case, he must have cheated me of my money. Luo Hongying cried. "Dong Zhenjiang, my little brother's cultivation has nothing to do with you. You are blind and you blame others?" If it was on other occasions, Dong Junhai would have backed down, but today it was about his brother, and more than 100 spirit stones were not a small number. He said with a sullen face, "Qin Haodong, for Luo Hongying's sake, as long as you give me 120 top-quality spirit stones today, I won't argue with you anymore." Before Qin Haodong could speak, Luo Hongying cried, "Bah!" You lost and you still want your money back? Get out of here. Zhong Jinhai said angrily. Luo Hongying, this is the Black Tortoise Academy. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because your grandfather is the vice president. Do I have what I want? I'm not bullying you. But I'm going to practice my summoning skills here with my little brother. A sly smile appeared on the little witch's face. And then a crystal ball about the size of a volleyball suddenly appeared in her palm. The crystal ball was light blue. Luo Hongying patted it gently, and the crystal ball glowed blue, instantly outlining a huge hexagram in the air. Following that, a large door slowly rose up from the hexagram. This door looked extremely heavy and ancient. It was 5 zhang wide and 10 zhang tall. There seemed to be countless figures of light cheering around it. At the same time, it was accompanied by the sounds of insects and beasts. The Living Spirit Gate. Dong Jinhai's expression changed greatly, but he was not particularly flustered. The little witch's summoning skills were notoriously unreliable. Perhaps she would only summon a demonic beast without any attack power. Qin Haodong also looked at the Living Spirit Gate with great interest. He did not know what the most unreliable summoner could summon. Living Spirit Gate open. Creatures of the alien world, listen to my call. Come on, my baby. After Luo Hongying's clear voice sounded, the simple Living Spirit Gate slowly opened, and a black shadow rushed out of it. A Cerberus? Everyone present was shocked. The Cerberus was a famous rank 6 demonic beast. It was extremely fierce, and cultivators below the void training stage could not resist it at all. Dong Jinhai managed to calm down. Although the Cerberus was fierce, he was also an expert at the void training stage. A Cerberus could not do anything to him. But suddenly, his expression changed greatly, because 5 or 6 black shadows rushed out of the Living Spirit Gate. They were all Cerberus. Among the people he brought, he was the only void training stage expert. The others were all deity transformation stage cultivators. There was no way they could fight against so many Cerberus. Now that things had come to this, he only had one choice, and that was to run as far as he could. Qin Haodong, just you wait. Luo Hongying can't protect you forever. After leaving these harsh words, Dong Jinhai quickly fled the courtyard with Dong Zhenjiang and the others. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared without a trace. Giggle giggle giggle, fun, really fun. The little witch giggled. After all, the other party was a student of the Black Tortoise Academy, not an enemy. She did not let the Cerberus attack, and casually recalled them back to the Living Spirit Gate. After putting away the crystal ball, she shook Qin Haodong's arm and said, Little brother, you're really lucky. I was afraid that I would summon another colorful guinea fowl. If that happened, I would have to ask you to cook it for me. You little foodie, you only know how to eat all day. Qin Haodong had a very good impression of this little witch. He patted her head and said, Dong Jinhai just said that your grandfather is the vice dean. What's going on? Luo Hongying said, What's so strange about that? My grandfather is the vice dean, Luo Dongqing, an old man who loves to drink. Oh, it turns out to be him. Qin Haodong did not expect Luo Hongying to be Luo Dongqing's granddaughter. The grandfather and granddaughter were really unique. One was addicted to alcohol, and the other was a complete foodie. Do you know my grandfather? Qin Haodong said, He bought 2 bottles of wine from me. No wonder my grandfather was so drunk. It turned out that he bought the wine from you. The little witch said, I'll go back and see if the old man has woken up. I'll come to see you tomorrow. You must cook for me. After saying that, she left the dormitory, leaving only Qin Haodong and Zhao Xingyue in the yard. He counted the spirit stones he had just received. There were as many as 80 of them, plus the 120 he had won from the challenge platform. He now had 200 top-grade spirit stones. After putting away the top-grade spirit stones, he said to Zhao Xingyue, Now that we have money, I'll talk to Mr. Zhou and rent the dormitory next door for you. No, I don't want to live there. I'll be scared at night alone. Zhao Xingyue took Qin Haodong's arm and said pitifully, Don't leave me alone, okay? Well, this is the Black Tortoise Academy. There are no bad guys here. What's there to be afraid of? That won't do. I'm just scared. I want to be with you all the time. Qin Haodong was speechless. As a warrior, she was so timid. There was really no one else like her. Well, let's live together first. We'll talk about the dormitory later. Then he simply cleaned up the garbage in the yard and took Zhao Xingyue into the house. The conditions of the dormitory were quite good. There was a separate bathroom and a separate toilet. After taking a shower, they were ready to go to bed. After taking a shower, Qin Haodong changed into a pair of loose pants. His upper body was bare, revealing his strong muscles and clearly visible waistline. Looking at his strong body, Zhao Xingyue couldn't help blushing. She had never seen a man's body up close in her life. Qin Haodong looked at her and said, "Why don't you change your clothes?" Zhao Xingyue said in surprise, "We're not going out. Why should I change my clothes?" Qin Haodong said in astonishment, "Don't you wear pajamas at night?" Zhao Xingyue asked with a puzzled face, "What are pajamas?" Qin Haodong was speechless for a while. It seemed that the material civilization here was still extremely backward. There were even no pajamas. He took out a black lace pajamas from the storage ring and said, "This is for you. Try it on. It's very comfortable to sleep." Chapter 870. This dress feels so comfortable. Zhao Xingyue stroked the pajamas and said, "But can I really wear it?" Qin Haodong said, "Of course it's for you to sleep. You can't sleep in the school uniform, can you?" He didn't have any other ideas. But as the school uniform of Black Tortoise School, the school paid more attention to the quality and wear resistance. The material of the clothes was extremely hard. Even a big man would be very uncomfortable to sleep in, let alone a woman with delicate skin. Zhao Xingyue said with a blush, "But I've never worn this kind of clothes, and I've never seen anyone wear it. I'm a little scared." "What's so scary about wearing clothes? Are you afraid that I'm a bad person? Or I'll open another dormitory for you." No, I know Brother Qin is a good person. I'll wear it." Zhao Xingyue was extremely timid, but Qin Haodong could bring her a great sense of security. It seemed that he was afraid that she would live alone. So she quickly took the pajamas and went into the bathroom. Qin Haodong shook his head and made a bed on the ground. There was only one bed in the room. Since they couldn't sleep in the same bed, he couldn't let a woman sleep on the ground. The door opened and Zhao Xingyue came out again. "Brother Qin, is this really okay?" Zhao Xingyue walked into the bedroom with a shy look. The pajamas in Qin Haodong's ring were prepared for his woman, so he wouldn't be too conservative. At this time, Zhao Xingyue was wearing a black lace suspender pajamas, which only covered the most important parts of a woman. Her white and smooth shoulders and slender and straight thighs were exposed to the air. This kind of beautiful scenery, coupled with a shy expression, brought unimaginable lethality to a man. Qin Haodong was slightly stunned at first, and then he quickly looked away and said, not bad, go to sleep." "Well," Zhao Xingyue answered and lay down on the bed. She covered her body with the quilt, but her face was burning. After calming down, she slowly felt that sleeping in this kind of pajamas was much more comfortable than before. Qin Haodong said, "You're so timid. How did you have the courage to run out alone?" Zhao Xingyue hesitated for a moment and said in a very soft voice, "I was originally with my family, but then we ran into a monster and got separated." Although Qin Haodong didn't see her expression, he could guess that she was lying to him from her voice. Since she didn't want to tell him, he didn't ask further. After that, neither of them spoke again, and the two of them quickly fell asleep. Early the next morning, the sun rose from the east. Not long after dawn, there was a violent knock on the door. "Little big brother, wake up, I'm coming." It was Luo Hongying, that little devil girl. She came here early in the morning. Qin Haodong opened the door and looked at the cheerful little witch. "Why are you here so early?" Luo Hongying cried. "It's not early, not early." "Little brother, what delicious food are you cooking for me today? I'm starving to death." It was said that to conquer a man's heart, one must first conquer his stomach. This saying seemed to apply to women as well. At this time, the little devil's stomach had been completely conquered by Qin Haodong's food. After tasting his cooking, eating other things tasted like wax, without any taste at all. In addition, this girl was a real foodie, So she endured for a whole night and came here early. Looking at the cute little girl, Chin Haodong raised his hand and threw a bag of potato chips. You eat first, I'll cook now. What is this? Little big brother's food must be delicious. Although she didn't know what it was, the little devil opened the bag excitedly, took out a potato chip from inside, and put it in her mouth. Crunch, crunch. After chewing a few times, an indescribably wonderful taste quickly occupied her taste buds. Potato chips seemed to be born for girls. On the earth, where all kinds of delicious food have been tasted, it was one of the essential snacks for many girls. Not to mention in the Lingwu continent, where food culture was extremely backward. Delicious, it's really delicious. Little big brother, how did you make this thing? Although the little girl was already 20 years old, she acted completely like a child. After eating a few potato chips, she was so happy that she jumped up and down, as if she was about to fly. What's delicious? Can I try some? Hearing her movements, Zhao Xingyue came out of the bedroom. Although she was not a full-blown foodie like the little devil, it was in women's nature to like food. This is the potato chip, little big brother gave it to me. The little devil said, as she handed over the potato chips in her hand. Then she saw the black lace pajamas that Zhao Xingyue was wearing, and suddenly a pair of beautiful big eyes opened wide. Sister Xingyue, what are you wearing? It looks so beautiful, I've never seen it before. Zhao Xingyue said with a red face, this is the pajamas that Brother Qin gave me. It's very comfortable when I sleep. The little devil stuffed the potato chips into Zhao Xingyue's hand, and then kept stroking the pajamas. This clothes feels so comfortable, as smooth as your skin. Then she turned around and shouted to Chin Haodong, little big brother, I also like this kind of pajamas. Can you give me one too? Sure. Chin Haodong's ring was well stocked, and he threw out a pink pajamas. That's great, I have pajamas too. I'm going to wear them soon. The little girl shouted happily as she took her pajamas into the bathroom. Soon, she ran out of the bathroom in a hurry. Little big brother, Sister Xingyue, do you think I look good in pajamas? The little she-devil said as she spun around happily on the ground. Hearing the shouting, Chin Haodong walked out of the kitchen. When he saw the little devil wearing a pink spaghetti strap pajamas, his eyes suddenly lit up. At the same time, he secretly praised in his heart. Although this little girl looked very cute, her body was definitely not cute. She was even much bigger than Zhao Xingyue. Her rather large chest kept rising and falling as she jumped up and down. It really felt like a surging wave. A lowly's face coupled with such a hot body. This was the legendary giant with a child's face. Little big brother, why aren't you saying anything? Is it because I don't look as good as Sister Xingyue in it? The little girl bounced in front of Chin Haodong. Stop jumping, I'm really dizzy. Chin Haodong hurriedly stopped the little devil, and at the same time forced himself to look to the side. Little big brother, do I look good? Yes, very good. But I'm going to cook for you now. Great, I'll go out and let them all have a look. These are the clothes that little big brother gave me. Although they were both women, the little devil did not have the shyness of Zhao Xingyue at all. She wore a spaghetti strap pajamas, and was about to run out. Chin Haodong quickly pulled her back. You can't go out in this? Why? The little girl blinked her big eyes and asked. Are you afraid that they will all come to you for clothes? Chin Haodong said with a frown. This is called pajamas. It's worn when you sleep. You can only show it to your family, and the people closest to you. You can't wear it on the street. Oh, then I'll wear it for little big brother in the future. The little girl said with a smile. Well, actually I can't see it either. Hurry up and change back. The little devil asked in surprise. Why? Because we're not particularly close. But Sister Xingyue can wear pajamas for you every day. Why can't I? Chin Haodong said a little awkwardly. That's because we're living together for the time being. There's no other way. Oh, I see. The little girl looked as if she had suddenly understood. Chin Haodong had just breathed a sigh of relief when he heard her say, I'll go back today and tell the old man that I'll move in and sleep with little big brother tonight. Chin Haodong was speechless. No, there's no bed here. There's no place for you to sleep. It doesn't matter. I can sleep in the same bed as Sister Xingyue. That's not good, is it? Qin Haodong really did not want the little devil to live here. Otherwise, there would be no peaceful days here in the future. However, the little girl obviously did not want to give up. She took Qin Haodong's arm and shook it violently. Little brother, just let me live here. Please. It was the first time that the little devil had worn spaghetti strap pajamas, so she was not familiar with the knots. In addition, she had just jumped so violently that the buttons of the pajamas suddenly loosened. In an instant, everything that should and should not be seen was exposed in front of Qin Haodong. Although the little girl looked a little careless, she still knew the most basic common sense. She was stunned at first, then she screamed and covered her chest with her hands. However, the scale of that place was not something that could be covered by two small hands. Qin Haodong was also in a hurry. He wanted to help her put on her clothes, but it was not convenient for a man like him to do it. Fortunately, Zhao Xingyue came to help. She hurriedly put the little girl's pajamas back on. The little devil was really insensitive. After putting on her clothes, she quickly returned to normal. She took Qin Haodong's arm again and said, "Do you agree or not? If you don't agree, I'll tell Grandpa that you took advantage of me." You're blackmailing me." Qin Haodong was speechless. Since the little girl came to him, he had given her whatever she wanted, but now he was blackmailed. The little girl blinked her big eyes and asked, "What do you mean by blackmailing me?" "Blackmailing me is..." "Forget it, I won't explain it to you. If you want to live here, just live here." "Oh, that's great." Big brother finally agreed. The little girl took Qin Haodong's arm and jumped again. Don't jump. It'll be bad if you jump off your clothes later." Qin Haodong hurriedly stopped her and ran into the kitchen to make breakfast. Half an hour later, he put the rice porridge, steamed buns and side dishes on the table. Then he asked the two girls to come over to eat together. "Delicious, it's really delicious," the little girl said while eating the steamed buns. "Little brother, after eating the food you made, I can't leave you for the rest of my life." Zhao Xingyue didn't speak, but she didn't know why she also had this feeling in her heart. She didn't want to leave this good man, who not only brought her a sense of security, but also brought her delicious food. Qin Haodong shook his head. She was really a foodie. She could cheat away a delicious food. After breakfast, Zhao Xingyue said, "Brother Qin, let's go to class together." "You two go. I'm going to the pharmacists' union to choose some medicinal materials." Although Qin Haodong had 200 top-grade spirit stones in his hand, it was far from enough to break through from the soul formation stage to the void training stage. The most important thing now was to refine pills and make more money. Chapter 871. Little brother, why don't we go with you? The little she-devil said eagerly. Although Zhao Xingyue didn't say anything, she nodded repeatedly. She didn't want to be separated from Qin Haodong. Today is the first day of school. It's not good for you to skip class. You should go to class. Qin Haodong was ready to refine the elixir after buying the Star Moon Bodhi seed. He didn't want the little witch to mess around with him. "But little brother, why should we go to class if you don't go to class? I'm different from you." In terms of cultivation experience and knowledge, Qin Haodong was definitely above those teachers. Therefore, he didn't need to go to class. All he needed was enough top-grade spirit stones. Seeing that the little witch was about to say something, he immediately used his trump card. "If you don't listen to me, you can go to the cafeteria to eat." Listen. Ever since she tasted Qin Haodong's food, the little witch would never go to the cafeteria to eat. She nodded and said, "We'll go to class now." Qin Haodong smiled as he watched the two girls walk towards the classroom. Then he walked to the Alchemist Union. It was his second time here, so he was already familiar with the place. He came to the counter and said to the waiter, "I want this Star Moon Bodhi seed." The waiter said politely, "Student, do you have an alchemist medal?" Qin Haodong was slightly stunned. "I need a medal to buy medicine? Can't ordinary students buy medicine here?" The waiter explained, "It's not like that. Ordinary people can also buy medicine here, but there's no discount. If you're a first-grade alchemist, You can buy medicine here at a 10% discount. A second-grade alchemist can buy medicine here at a 20% discount, and so on. Qin Haodong said in surprise. If I'm a ninth-grade alchemist, won't I get a 10% discount? The waiter said, You really know how to joke. The highest level in our school is a 7th-grade alchemist, the president of our alchemist union. This rule is set by the alchemist union. It's to encourage our students to learn alchemy as much as possible. Qin Haodong nodded. He had now seen through it. The whole Black Tortoise Academy's incentive mechanism was the temptation of money. He asked again, If I have the alchemist medal, will there be any other preferential treatment? The waiter said, If you have an alchemist medal, you can sell the refined medicinal herbs to our alchemist union. We don't dare to accept medicinal ingredients refined by alchemists without a medal. Similarly, the higher the rank, the higher the price. A 1-star alchemist's price is 10% higher than the market price. A 2-star alchemist's price is 20% higher, and so on. Qin Haodong thought about it. The treatment of an alchemist was really good. It seemed that he had to get a medal first. Not only would he have a discount when buying raw materials, but he could also earn more spirit stones when selling. Student, do you have an apothecary medal? Not yet, but I can take the exam. Qin Haodong said. How do I take the exam for the alchemist's medal? The waiter was slightly stunned and then said, Student, it seems that you still don't know the industry of alchemists. In the whole Lingwu continent, the status of alchemists is extremely high because every cultivator needs to buy medicinal pills from them. It's also very difficult to become an alchemist. I advise you to study for a while and then apply for the exam. Qin Haodong said, You don't have to worry about that. Just tell me how to take the exam. The waiter shook his head and said, Turn left from here, and you'll reach the examination room for the alchemist's medal. But I advise you to think about it carefully, because every time you take the exam, you need to pay 10 top-grade spirit stones as an exam fee. If you don't have enough confidence, you won't have the money. 10 top-grade spirit stones so expensive? Qin Haodong finally felt that it was really difficult to take a step in Black Tortoise Academy without money. The waiter said, The exam naturally has a fee, and the academy also has a cost. If there is no threshold, there will be endless students coming to take the exam every day, and the academy will be too busy. Qin Haodong nodded. Although the exam cost some money, it was still very cost-effective overall. With his current ability, he could at least take the exam for a 5th-grade alchemist's medal. It was not that his level of alchemy was not good enough, but it was completely limited by his cultivation. The higher the grade of medicinal pills, the higher the requirements for the use of medicinal pills and internal force. The reason why alchemists were respected was that they were also masters of martial arts while refining high-quality medicinal pills. It was just that in terms of combat ability, they were worse than warriors of the same grade. He left the medicine sales hall and followed the waiter's instructions to the next examination room for alchemists. When he arrived, there were already more than a dozen candidates gathered in front of the door. It seemed that they were all here to take the alchemist's medal exam. To his surprise, he met the fatty Zhang Dapeng here. Brother Qin, you're here. Zhang Dapeng also saw Qin Haodong and greeted him warmly. He looked him up and down, as if to check if he was injured. Brother, did the little witch embarrass you yesterday? No, I'm fine. Qin Haodong smiled and said, Brother Zhang, are you also here to take the alchemist's medal exam? Zhang Dapeng said, Yes, although I'm not practicing martial arts. If I have an alchemist medal, it will be convenient to go anywhere, and I can buy medicinal materials much cheaper. But it's really difficult to take the exam. This is the 3rd time I've come here. If I can't pass this exam, I'll give up. At this time, a sneer came from the side. You guys from the Academy of Martial Arts are all rough people. How can you know alchemy? It's a waste of money to take the exam here. I advise you to go back and save some spirit stones for cultivation. Qin Haodong looked back and saw a second-year student in a black school uniform standing behind them, looking at them with a sneer. Zhang Dapeng said, Ma Yan, what's so good about you? Although you're a student of the alchemy department, You haven't taken the exam yet, have you? The student called Ma Yin said, What do you know? I'm working steadily. After a year of study, I'm confident that I can take the exam and get the first-grade alchemist medal. I'm not like you. You've been taking the exam for 3 years without any results. You're a warrior. You should just focus on improving your cultivation. Why do you want to take the alchemist exam? You're biting off more than you can chew. Zhang Dapeng was so angry that his face turned red, but he had nothing to say. He had taken the exam for 3 years without any results. Ma Yin looked complacent. Obviously, he didn't feel satisfied after arguing with Zhang Dapeng. He turned his head and looked at Qin Haodong. I say, as a new student who has just entered the academy, you should study hard. You've just entered the academy, and you want to take the alchemist medal. Don't you know what you're doing? As your senior brother, I can tell you responsibly that the alchemist exam is not for ordinary people. You'd better go back and improve your cultivation. Qin Haodong glanced at him and said lightly, I've been studying at the Black Tortoise Academy for a year, but I'm barely at the middle stage of the nascent soul realm. As a student majoring in the alchemy department, you haven't even gotten a medal. I really don't know where your sense of superiority comes from. If I were you, I would have killed myself. Generally speaking, new students were very respectful to old students, especially newcomers like Qin Haodong, who had just entered the academy a few days ago. However, Ma Yin didn't expect that this young man not only didn't take him seriously, but also spoke so harshly, even more ruthlessly than he had with Zhang Dapeng. He suddenly blushed and shouted, Boy, what are you talking about? I'm at the middle stage of the nascent soul realm. So what? Are you saying that you're better than me? Seeing that Ma Yin was rebuked, Zhang Dapeng felt better than drinking cold beer. He said happily, Let me tell you, Brother Qin's cultivation is really higher than yours. He's the king of newcomers this year. He just entered the academy, but he's already at the late stage of the divine transformation realm. Ma Yin didn't expect that there was such a big gap between their cultivation. A new student could be so powerful, but he still shouted, So what? You're in the martial arts department. It's okay if you're a little bit higher. If you're so good, you can also take the alchemist exam and show me. Don't worry, your wish will come true soon. Qin Haodong turned his head and said to Zhang Dapeng, Brother Zhang, do you know how to register for the exam here? Can I directly apply for the 5th grade alchemist exam? Zhang Dapeng was shocked. Brother, did I hear that right? You want to take the 5th grade alchemist exam? Qin Haodong said, Yes, I think it's too troublesome to take the test one by one. It's better to take it one step at a time. Hearing the conversation between the two, Ma Yin seemed to immediately find a point of attack. He immediately shouted, Boy, you really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Do you think you're an immortal? Do you think you're Fang Qiong? You can get the 6th grade alchemist exam without graduating? Qin Haodong ignored him and said to Zhang Dapeng, Brother Zhang, who is Fang Qiong? Is she one of the top 10 masters you mentioned yesterday? Zhang Dapeng said, Yes, it's her. There are geniuses in this world. You have to admire them. Fang Qiong has not only reached the middle stage of the void training realm, but also is the only student in our school who has passed the 5th grade alchemist exam. She is the proudest disciple of President Su Wujin of the Alchemist Union. It's said that she will enter the Alchemist Union as the vice president after graduation. Now she is in charge of the exam for students here. That is to say, she will be the one who will take the exam for us later. Ma Yin also shouted, Did you hear that? She's a true genius. Compared to senior sister Fang Qiong, you're nothing. Qin Haodong glanced at him with a sneer. Fang Qiong is your girlfriend? Well, Fang Qiong is a girl in our school. How can I be worthy of her? What special relationship does it have with you? No, Fang Qiong doesn't know me at all. Qin Haodong sneered and said, Since she doesn't even know you, what does it have to do with you? Fang Qiong is my senior. I'm proud of her excellence. Qin Haodong said, People like you should work hard to improve themselves. Don't always show off a person who has nothing to do with you. Ma Yin blushed and was about to say something when a cold voice came. This is the examination room. Be quiet. Qin Haodong looked in the direction of the voice and saw a female student in a purple school uniform coming in. The girl was tall and curvy with long hair. She was as beautiful as Zhao Xingyue and Luo Hongying. What was different was that there was a kind of arrogance on her face. Chapter 872. It had to be said that she was indeed an excellent woman. Not only had she reached the middle stage of the void training realm, she was also the most outstanding alchemist student in the Black Tortoise Institute. Her appearance was also enough to make countless men fall for her. Perhaps it was because of her outstanding performance that she was extremely arrogant. However, the students present still gave face to this proud girl. After Fang Qiong appeared, the noisy scene immediately quieted down. Students who want to register, come here to register. Fang Qiong sat in front of a table and began to register the students who wanted to apply for the alchemist exam. When almost everyone had registered, it was Qin Haodong's turn. He stepped forward and said, "Senior, I want to ask if I can directly apply for the 5th grade alchemist exam." As soon as he said this, the people around him burst into laughter. In their eyes, this guy was obviously here to make trouble. Who is this new guy? Even if he wants to attract Senior Fang Qiong's attention, he doesn't have to use such a cheap trick, does he? This guy really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. He actually wants to apply for the 5th grade alchemist exam in one go. Doesn't he know that Senior Fang Qiong is the only 5th grade alchemist in the entire institute? This guy is doomed. He doesn't know Senior Fang Qiong's temper. She hates people who bite off more than they can chew. This trick won't work. As expected, in the midst of the discussion, Fang Qiong's arrogant face immediately darkened. She said coldly, "What did you say? Say it again if you have the guts." Qin Haodong said disapprovingly, "Senior, I just think it's too troublesome to take the tests one by one. Can I directly apply for the 5th grade alchemist exam?" With his attainments in alchemy, he was definitely much better than a 5th grade alchemist. If it wasn't for the limitation of his cultivation, he would have directly applied for the 6th grade alchemist exam. In his opinion, it was already very modest to apply for this level. Fang Qiong slammed the table and shouted angrily, "What's the point of people like you? You want to apply for the 5th grade alchemist exam as soon as you come to the institute? What do you think an alchemist is? Are you playing a child's game?" Qin Haodong said innocently, "But I think I'm qualified to be a 5th grade alchemist." Blind arrogance, biting off more than you can chew. This was the first time Fang Qiong had met a student like this. "Get out of here. This is the Alchemist Union. You are not welcome here." Qin Haodong said helplessly, "Senior sister, it's fine if you don't want me to take the exam directly. I'll take the exam one by one, okay? Sign me up for the exam as a 1st grade alchemist first." Fang Qiong snorted. However, he was a student of the college and met the requirements, so she could not refuse him. She glared at him, and then wrote Qin Haodong's name on the form angrily. After the registration was complete, the examination began. According to the Academy's regulations, the first segment was a written test. Fang Qiong arranged for everyone to sit down, and then handed out the papers one by one. She sat at the front, and looked down coldly to prevent any students from cheating. The difficulty of the alchemist exam was well known. In the entire academy, only a small number of people could obtain the alchemist qualification every year. Even the students of the alchemist specialization could not guarantee that all of them could pass the exam. Therefore, after the exam began, sighs could be heard continuously in the examination hall. Most people felt that this exam question was too difficult. Qin Haodong glanced at the exam paper, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. These questions were simply child's play to him, so he did not take them seriously at all. He picked up the pen and scribbled furiously on the paper. After about 20 minutes, he handed the paper to Fang Qiong. "Senior sister, I finished." "What? Did he finish answering so quickly? Did this guy hand in a blank paper? This guy doesn't know anything about alchemists at all. He came here to flirt with senior sister Fang Qiong'er. Such a difficult paper. I haven't even finished one question, but he handed it in. It's obvious that he is playing to the gallery. He must have scribbled. Fang Qiong'er's face became more and more gloomy. She stared at Qin Haodong and said, "Are you sure you answered the paper seriously?" Qin Haodong smiled indifferently and said, "It's such a simple paper. There's no need to be serious. I can answer it easily. Senior sister, do you think I can answer the second-grade alchemist's paper again? How arrogant. I'll mark the paper for you now, and see how many points you can get." The more Fang Qiong'er looked at Qin Haodong, the more she disliked him. It was obvious that this guy was here to make trouble. She had to slap him in the face now. "Well, thank you for your hard work, senior sister." Fang Qiong'er was responsible for the whole exam. Qin Haodong did not say much, and returned to his seat to wait for the score. Fang Qiong'er took Qin Haodong's paper and began to read it. The first question asked students to write a prescription for a patient who was injured by taking oral medicine. This question was completely free for students who took the exam for alchemists. In the Lingwu continent, anyone with a little medical knowledge would know that this kind of disease required the use of the golden jade detachment pill. However, she saw that Qin Haodong had written a completely different method on the answer sheet, which had nothing to do with the golden jade detachment pill. He is indeed a guy playing to the gallery. He doesn't even know the basic medical knowledge. Seeing this, Fang Qiong'er became angrier and angrier. She did not even bother to read the next question. She directly took the red pen beside her, made a big cross on Qin Haodong's paper, and wrote a vigorous 0 on it. "Well, this is your score. You can take it and leave." Fang Qiong'er intended to humiliate Qin Haodong, so she directly lifted his paper to show it to the other candidates. When they saw the big 0 written on the paper, everyone roared with laughter. Ma Yin shouted, "I told you that the newcomer king is just a little bit higher in cultivation. He is nothing in our College of Alchemists. This guy is really a weirdo. I have been in the College of Alchemists for so many years, but I have never heard of anyone scoring 0. This is so funny. If I were him, I would just pee and drown myself in it. This is so embarrassing." Amidst the laughter, Qin Haodong's face also became cold. It was okay for this woman to be a little arrogant, and it had nothing to do with him. However, she could not just randomly give him a 0 on the paper. This was simply nonsense. He stepped in front of Fang Qiong'er and said, "Senior sister, do you know that the person in charge of the examination of the Alchemist Union is responsible for his own behavior, and also for everyone's exam results?" Fang Qiong'er sneered and said, "I am already very responsible. A person like you only deserves a 0 on this paper." Qin Haodong took the paper, scribbled down his address on the back, and then handed it to Fang Qiong'er. "This is my dormitory number. I will go back and wait for you. I hope you can apologize to me as soon as possible." "Apologize to you? Am I dreaming? How could I apologize to you?" Fang Qiong'er sneered. She was the only 5th-grade alchemist student in the Black Tortoise College. How could she apologize to a bad student? In her opinion, this kind of saying was simply childish to the extreme and extremely laughable. Qin Haodong said, "If your alchemist union knows its mistake and doesn't change, then I have no interest in joining it." After saying that, he turned around and left the examination room, leaving a dozen students who were dumbfounded. Most of them were old students who had been in the Black Tortoise College for a long time. For so many years, they had never seen such an arrogant new student who dared to treat Fang Qiong'er like this. Fang Qiong'er had always been proud and arrogant. She had never been treated like this before. Suddenly, she felt that her lungs were about to explode. She grabbed the paper left by Qin Haodong, rolled it into a ball, and fiercely threw it in the direction of the door. Just then, an old man in a long robe appeared in front of the door and reached out to grab the paper in his hand. "Qiong'er, why are you so angry?" The old man was Fang Qiong'er's teacher, the president of the branch of the Alchemist Union, Su Wuwei. Fang Qiong'er said angrily, "Teacher, an arrogant guy just came. He almost pissed me off. He said that he wanted to apply for the 5th-grade alchemist exam, but I didn't agree. I asked him to answer the first grade alchemist exam, but he got a 0 and said that I would go to him and apologize. I have never seen such an arrogant guy. Is that so? How bad is the student to get a 0? Driven by curiosity, Su Wei opened the paper in his hand and began to read. Fang Qiunger was not done venting her anger. She continued, "Look at this guy." The first question was obviously a free-point question. He only needed to answer the recipe of the gold and jade detachment elixir. However, he messed it up and came up with a bunch of strange things. While she was talking, she did not notice that Su Wei's expression became more and more serious. At last he shouted excitedly, "Wonderful, it's really wonderful. Good prescription, really good, it's simply divine." Fang Qiunger was startled and asked in surprise, "Teacher, are you all right?" Su Wei was so excited that his beard jumped up. He pointed to the paper in his hand and said, "This person is absolutely divine. His prescription is too wonderful for words." Fang Qiunger felt even more depressed. She asked in confusion, "Teacher, what are you talking about?" Su Wei said, "Recently, I have been studying the prescription of the gold and jade detachment pill. For hundreds of years, we have been using it to treat internal injuries caused by damaged meridians, and the effect is also good. But this prescription has a big drawback, which is that it is extremely painful when taking the medicine. The injured will be tortured by pain from the moment they take the medicine until they recover. I have always wanted to improve this prescription to reduce the pain of the injured, but I have never been able to do it. But this student has done it. His prescription can not only achieve the goal of curing the injury, but also help to relieve the pain of the injured. It is really a priceless prescription." This, how is it possible?" Fang Qiunger said. "Teacher, did you make a mistake? That person is just a new student this year. Even you can't do it. How could he do it? I have studied this prescription for a long time, so it should not be wrong. But just in case, I will now refine it into an elixir to test it. There happens to be an injured patient in our alchemists' union." After saying that, Su Wei hurried into the alchemy room, next to him with the paper in his hand, and began to refine the elixir according to Qin Haodong's prescription. Fang Qiunger sat in the chair again, but her expression became extremely complicated. Could it be that she had misjudged the paper? With her ability, she couldn't see the brilliance of the other party. She couldn't even imagine the result. She had always thought that she was the best. She was the chosen one, and no one could be better than her. About an hour later, it was time for the exam. In the examination room, the candidates handed in their papers one after another. At this time, Su Wei ran in from outside with a bottle of elixir and said, "Qiunger, you really misunderstood him. The elixir refined according to this prescription not only has no side effects, but the effect is doubled. The injured person who took the elixir immediately recovered by half." Chapter 873. Fang Qiunger was stunned. What she had been most worried about had happened. She was really wrong. Su Wujin took out Qin Haodong's paper and said, "Qiunger, I've just read this paper. Not only did the first question contain such a good recipe, but the rest of the questions also have their own opinions. This isn't a paper with 0 marks, it's a paper with 100 marks, or even higher marks." As soon as he said this, everyone present was dumbfounded. Who was Su Wujin? He was the president of the Black Tortoise Academy, and a 7th grade alchemist. He had always had a high standard. No one had ever seen him praise someone like this. I. Fang Qiunger's lips moved a few times, but she didn't say a word in the end. "Qiunger, it's our fault. This student named Qin Haodong is definitely a genius. We can't miss such a talent. I'll go and invite him back now." Su Wujin was about to walk out of the examination room when Fang Qiunger called, "Teacher, wait a minute." "What's wrong, Qiunger?" "What else?" Su Wujin turned around and asked. "Teacher, since it's my fault, let me correct it. I'll invite Qin Haodong back and apologize to him in person." It was very difficult for Fang Qiunger to say these words. Although she was arrogant, she was not a person who refused to admit her mistake. Since it was her fault, she would be brave to bear it. Su Wujin nodded with satisfaction. His disciple was very good to be able to correct her mistake. He said, "Very well, I'll let you go. It's our fault. Besides apologizing, tell Qin Haodong that the Alchemist Union will waive all the exam fees for him. Although it's not a lot, it's our apology." "Got it, teacher." Fang Qiunger answered and rushed to the dormitory according to the address Qin Haodong left. Seeing that she was gone, Ma Yin said to Su Wujin, "President Su, what about our papers?" According to the usual practice, Fang Qiunger would immediately mark the papers and announce everyone's results on the spot. But now that Fang Qiunger was gone, what should they do? Su Wujin said, "If there's nothing urgent, you can wait here. If there's something urgent, go back first. I'll ask someone to inform you later." All the candidates nodded. No one left but waited for Fang Qiunger and Qin Haodong to come back. When Qin Haodong returned to the dormitory, the little witch and Zhao Xingyue had gone to class, leaving him alone at home. He pulled a chair and sat in the courtyard, looking up at the distant horizon. At this moment, thoughts of his family filled his mind. It had been 2 days since he arrived at the Lingwu continent. His family must be very worried when they found out that he was missing. He wondered how the little guy was doing, and if he missed his father. He didn't know how his women were doing. Would they be especially sad? Just like that, he stared at the sky in a daze. After who knew how long, there was a knock on the door. Fang Qiunger came to Qin Haodong's dormitory and saw him sitting alone in the yard through the fence. His eyes were deep and sad, as if he had seen all the vicissitudes of life. After so many years, she had never seen such a sorrowful look in his eyes. She couldn't help but think, he doesn't look that old. What exactly did he experience? After a while, she saw that Qin Haodong was still in a daze and didn't notice her arrival, so she still knocked on the door. Qin Haodong came to his senses and opened the door. When he saw Fang Qiunger, he said, "You're here. Let's start." Fang Qiunger asked in surprise, "What start?" Qin Haodong said playfully, "Didn't you come to apologize to me? Let's start now. If your apology is sincere, I will forgive you." "You." Fang Qiunger was so angry that her eyes widened, but she was the one to blame. Finally, she gritted her teeth and said, "I'm sorry. I was too arbitrary in today's exam. I misunderstood you. I apologize." "Not bad. You're very sincere." Qin Haodong nodded and then said, "What else?" "I've already apologized. What else do you want?" Fang Qiunger said angrily. As far as she could remember, this was the first time she had apologized to someone. She didn't expect that this guy was still not satisfied. Qin Haodong said with a smile, "Your apology is not bad. It's very sincere. But don't you have any material compensation?" "You." Looking at the mocking gaze of the person in front of her, Fang Qiunger said hatefully, "My teacher said that the fault lies with the Alchemist Guild. As compensation, you will be exempted from all future examination fees." "That's not bad. Let's go. I'll go back with you." Qin Haodong nodded with satisfaction. His goal today was to get the 5th grade Alchemist medal, which meant that he could save 50 top-grade spirit stones, which was a lot of money. Fang Qiunger snorted and turned around to lead the way. They went back to the Alchemist Union. When Su Wujin saw Fang Qiunger bringing back a handsome young man, he knew that he must be Qin Haodong. He stepped forward and said, "Young man, I'm Su Wujin of the Alchemist Union. We made a mistake just now and misjudged your score. Now I apologize to you." Qin Haodong said, "It's okay. My senior sister has just apologized to me. Everyone makes mistakes. A good comrade should correct their mistakes." Hearing this, Fang Qiunger was so angry that she glared at Qin Haodong. What's so great about him? She had just figured out that Qin Haodong must have gotten that prescription from somewhere and answered the exam correctly. He was definitely not as good as her in terms of alchemy. Everyone makes mistakes. That's a good saying. Su Wujin said, "Little Qin, I just read your paper. Your ideas are unique, and you are quite accomplished in alchemy. May I ask who your teacher is?" He had the same idea as Fang Qiunger. He thought that Qin Haodong must have a great teacher, who happened to get that prescription. How could Qin Haodong not know what he was thinking? But this could help him hide his identity. So he said according to what he told Zhao Xingyue. My teacher is a strange man. He has been living in seclusion in the mountain, and now he has passed away. Oh, Su Wujin nodded. He was not surprised. After all, there were many hermits in the world. He added, Little Qin, I've just corrected your result. You got a full score in this exam, and won the first-grade alchemist medal. Hearing this, the other students gathered around all looked at Qin Haodong with envy. Their papers had not been marked yet, but Qin Haodong had already passed the exam with a full score. Ma Yin was a little embarrassed. He had just said that Qin Haodong would definitely not pass the exam, but now he got a full score, which made him feel embarrassed. However, to everyone's surprise, Qin Haodong did not look happy at all. He continued, President Su, I want to take the 5th grade alchemist exam. Is that okay? Fang Qiunger glared at him. How could this guy take the 5th grade alchemist exam again? He only got a full score in the 1st grade alchemist exam. Did he really think he was so great? The others were also talking about it. Although it was great for a 1st grade alchemist to get a full score, there was a huge gap between each level of alchemy. There was no comparison at all. No one, including Zhang Dapeng, who had a good relationship with Qin Haodong, thought that he could pass the 5th grade alchemist exam. Su Wujin said, Little Qin, you've just entered the school. You still have a lot of time in the future. Don't be so anxious. There is a huge gap between each level of alchemy. It's not easy to pass the exam. I advise you to study hard for a while first, and then come back to take the exam. Qin Haodong said, President Su, that's too troublesome. I think it's better to pass the exam today. Troublesome? How arrogant. Do you really think you're possessed by the god of medicine? Although no one paid attention to him, Ma Yin still felt that he had lost face. Now it seemed that he had found a chance to save his face, so he couldn't help but start to ridicule Qin Haodong. Su Wujin wanted to persuade him again, but Fang Qiunger said, Teacher, I want to compete with him in alchemy. If he can beat me, he will pass the 5th grade alchemist exam. Is that okay? This girl had always been proud and arrogant. After apologizing to Qin Haodong today, she still felt uncomfortable and wanted to find a chance to win back her face. As her teacher, Su Wujin naturally knew what his student was thinking. He thought for a moment and said, Well, you can have a competition. Qin Haodong, what do you think of this idea? For Qin Haodong, it didn't matter as long as he could take the exam. He said calmly, Sure. How do we compete? Su Wujin said, You can start alchemy together. As long as you can successfully make a furnace of 5th grade elixirs, even if the quality is not as good as Qiunger's, you will pass the exam. In his opinion, Qin Haodong's alchemy level was definitely not as good as his disciple, so he relaxed the standard a little. Qin Haodong said indifferently, Any elixir? Su Wujin said, As long as it's a 5th grade elixir, you can choose whatever you want. Fang Qiunger held her head high and said, I'll make whatever elixir you make, so that you won't say that I bullied you when I lose. Qin Haodong smiled slightly and said, Then I'll choose the fortune elixir. Among the 5th grade elixirs, the fortune elixir was one of the best. It was usually very difficult to make, and once it was made, the price would be relatively high. That was why he chose the fortune elixir. After hearing his words, Su Wujin and the others all changed their expressions. They had thought that he would choose a 5th grade elixir that was extremely difficult to make. After all, passing the exam was the most important thing. They didn't expect that this young man would choose such a difficult elixir. A contemptuous smile flashed across Fang Qiunger's face. In her opinion, Qin Haodong must want to choose the most difficult elixir, so that neither of them could make it. Even if they lost in the end, they could at least save some face. However, with her ability, even if it was a little difficult to make the fortune elixir, she could still make it if she tried her best. Seeing that neither of them had any objections, Su Wujin said, Well, you can make the fortune elixir together. Wait a minute. Qin Haodong stopped Su Wujin. Fang Qiunger sneered and said, What? Do you regret it? Do you want to change to an easier elixir? No. I just want to ask, What about the herbs for the competition? Su Wujin smiled slightly and said, I've said that your exam fee is free, so the Pharmaceutical Pharmacist Union will naturally pay for the herbs. Then I'm relieved. Qin Haodong asked again. What about the elixir? Does it belong to me or the Pharmaceutical Pharmacist Union? Chapter 874. Su Wujin said, Don't worry, young man. These elixirs are yours, but the Alchemist Union will buy them back at a high price. We'll give you a satisfactory price. Qin Haodong immediately said with satisfaction, That's good, that's good. Fang Qiunger snorted, Greedy bastard. Qin Haodong didn't care about the title. What he needed most now was money. It was hard to make a living in this college without money. The three of them went to a huge alchemy room in the Alchemist Union. Someone had already prepared all the herbs needed for alchemy. With Su Wujin's approval, a dozen other people also came in to cheer for their goddess. They wanted to see how badly Qin Haodong would lose. Qin Haodong chose a place. With a thought, the Shinnon cauldron suddenly appeared in the alchemy room. Su Wujin's eyes suddenly lit up when he saw the simple and elegant Shinnon cauldron. He had been an alchemist for so many years, but he had never seen such a good cauldron. He looked at the Shinnon cauldron a few times and couldn't help praising. Good cauldron. This is definitely a good cauldron. Fang Qiunger snorted. What's the use of a good cauldron if you're not good enough? Qin Haodong smiled slightly. This woman was really arrogant. Since she was so arrogant, let me conquer her. He stretched out his index finger and flicked it gently. A dazzling alchemy fire entered the Shinnon cauldron, and then turned into a raging fire. The alchemy officially began. Fang Qiunger held back her anger. She shook her wrist gently, and a huge cauldron appeared in the alchemy room. Then she lit the fire, heated the cauldron, and put the elixirs in. Everything was done in one go, showing her solid alchemy skills. Although she was arrogant, she also knew that the nature elixir was not that easy to make. So she looked serious and focused on doing all she could. Zhang Dapeng said, Who do you think will win this competition? Ma Yin said, Of course. Is there any suspense? Senior sister Fang Qiunger will definitely win. It's impossible for that sensationalist guy to make a 5th-grade elixir. The others all echoed and stood on Fang Qiunger's side. Zhang Dapeng said, I always feel that Brother Qin is not simple. Maybe he can't beat senior sister Fang Qiunger, but he can also make a 5th-grade elixir. Ma Yin immediately said disdainfully, You've taken the exam 3 times, and you've failed to get a 1st-grade alchemist's medal. How can a newbie like him refine a 5th-grade pill? Are you thinking with your feet? Zhang Dapeng shook his head and did not refute. Rationally, he did not think that Qin Haodong could succeed, but in his heart, he felt that this person was not ordinary. Qin Haodong was not affected by the others at all. Although he did not have the help of the little fellow's innate fire, he was a little weaker in terms of fire. However, his skill in alchemy was extremely high, and he was very familiar with the Pill of Fortune. The medicinal ingredients flew into the Shinnon cauldron one by one, and soon turned into a rich medicinal liquid. Every process was done smoothly, and the speed was so fast that it was astounding. Su Wujin was inwardly shocked. This young man's technique was fast, but every step was just right. It could be seen that his attainments in alchemy were profound. Even if it was him, he wouldn't be able to achieve such a level. Could it be that he could really refine a 5th-grade pill? The pill of good fortune? What is this guy doing? Isn't his speed a little too fast? Ma Yin said disdainfully. What's the use of being fast? Alchemy is not a race. I think his cauldron will explode soon. I think so too. Look at senior sister Fang Qiong. She is steady and steady. What Qin Haodong is doing is alchemy. They were all amateurs, and no matter what, they only had faith in Fang Qiong. Fang Qiong stole a glance at Qin Haodong, and she could not help but feel a little surprised. This guy was calm, and his movements were very skillful. He did not look like a newcomer at all. It seemed that she had to speed up. Otherwise, even if she could refine all the pills, she would still lose to him in speed, which would be embarrassing. She did not realize that she had subconsciously agreed that Qin Haodong could refine the pill of good fortune. Qin Haodong's speed was getting faster and faster, and he showed no signs of slowing down. About 20 minutes later, a strong smell of medicine filled the alchemy room. Qin Haodong had finished refining the pills. He extinguished the fire and put away the pills. 9 fiery red pill of good fortune appeared in the jade bottle in his hand. There were 3 dazzling golden lines on the surface of each pill. Qin Haodong shook his head slightly. It seemed that without the little fellow's innate fire, he was still a little short of making 12 pills. What's going on? This guy really made the pills. Isn't it a little too fast? How come the cauldron didn't explode when he was so fast? I don't think it's right. I have seen many alchemy masters, but none of them were this fast. I guess the pills this guy made are not something special, but they are definitely not the pill of good fortune. Everyone was shocked by Qin Haodong's speed, and they all looked at the jade bottle in his hand. Su Wujin was a 7th grade alchemist, and everyone could tell from the smell that it was the pill of good fortune. He walked over and took the jade bottle in Qin Haodong's hand. His expression suddenly changed. Not only were the 9 pills of good fortune extremely smooth, but there were also 3 golden lines on them. Even with his level as a 7th grade alchemist, he couldn't create lines every time he made an alchemy pill. Even if there were lines, it would only be 1 line. However, this young man had made an elixir with 3 lines, which showed how high his attainments were. Seeing Su Wujin's expression, the others immediately gathered around. Ma Yin asked, "President Su, what did he make? Is it really the pill of good fortune?" Su Wujin said excitedly, "Not only did little Qin make the pill of good fortune, but it also has 3 lines. Generally speaking, a pill with 1 line is already a high-grade elixir, but he actually has 3 lines. This level of attainment is something even I can't compare to." Hearing Su Wujin's words, everyone present was shocked. Just now they had guessed that it was impossible for Qin Haodong to succeed, but in the end, he actually made an elixir with 3 lines. Even the president felt that he couldn't compare to him. What kind of attainment in alchemy did he need? Especially Ma Yin, he felt his face burning. As a second-year student, a student majoring in alchemy, he hadn't obtained an alchemist medal after so long. In the end, Qin Haodong was a 5th-grade alchemist. The gap between them was a little too big. Fortunately, Qin Haodong didn't take him seriously at all, and didn't make any sarcastic remarks. Fang Qiong-er, who was next to him, clearly saw everyone's surprise and exclamation. Not only was Qin Haodong fast in alchemy, but the quality was also very high. She had never made an elixir with 3 lines before, which meant that she had lost this alchemy test. What's going on? As a 5th-grade alchemist, how could I lose to a newcomer? While she was distracted, she forgot that the biggest taboo for an alchemist was to be distracted. When she came back to her senses, she found that she didn't put in the medicine at the scheduled time. She was late by half a breath. The reason why it was difficult to become an alchemist was that every step of alchemy had to be done step by step, neither too early nor too late. If there were any mistakes, the alchemy would fail, and the cauldron would explode. That was exactly what was happening to Fang Qiong-er at the moment. Because she was distracted just now, the power in the cauldron was boiling, as if it had been ignited by something. The huge cauldron kept shaking and making strange noises. "Oh no, the cauldron is going to explode," someone shouted. Everyone's expression changed. An exploding cauldron was a nightmare for alchemists, especially when Fang Qiong-er was making a 5th-grade elixir. The higher the level of the elixir, the more powerful the explosion. If the cauldron really exploded, none of them would survive. Su Wujin, of course, knew the seriousness of an exploding cauldron. He immediately shouted with a serious expression, "You guys leave now. I'll handle this." Zhang Dapeng, Ma Yin, and the others didn't dare to hesitate. They immediately left the alchemy room as fast as they could. At this time, everyone could leave except for Fang Qiong-er. Once she lost control of the cauldron, it would explode immediately. There was no way for her to escape. Looking at the shaking cauldron, Su Wujin was anxious, But there was nothing he could do. Just then, he saw Qin Haodong next to him and immediately shouted, "Why are you still here? President Su, you leave here first. I'll handle this." After saying that, Qin Haodong strode behind Fang Qiong. "Nonsense. You're making trouble. Come back here now," Su Wujin shouted. As a 7th grade alchemist, he couldn't handle the current situation, let alone Qin Haodong, who had just entered the academy. If there was a master at the Mahayana stage here, he could use his own strength and control of the elixir to suppress the power of the cauldron. But with their current cultivation, none of them could do it. At this time, Fang Qiong's face was pale. She was no longer as arrogant as before. She tried her best to control the cauldron in front of her, but the cauldron on the verge of exploding was obviously beyond her control. Just then, a firm voice sounded in her ear. "From now on, listen to my instructions. Don't panic and don't retreat." Just now Fang Qiong had the intention to retreat, but she couldn't retreat now. Once she did, the cauldron would explode immediately. Her face was pale and she didn't know what to say. "What? Are you afraid? Aren't you proud? As an alchemist, are you afraid of an exploding cauldron?" "Who said I'm afraid?" Qin Haodong's words immediately ignited Fang Qiong's fighting spirit. She was a proud woman. She would rather be blown to death here than lose her dignity. Qin Haodong knew that his provocation had worked and calmed Fang Qiong down. He immediately continued, "Throw the rest of the violet sun leaves and 1,000 vines into the cauldron now." This will it work?" Fang Qiong was shocked. The cauldron was already on the verge of exploding. If she added these 2 young attribute herbs, wouldn't it explode even more thoroughly? After studying alchemy for so long, she had never seen alchemy like this. Based on the current situation, even if the cauldron exploded, with her own cultivation, she would at most be seriously injured and still have a chance of survival. If she threw the rest of the elixir into the cauldron, the huge explosion would be too much for her to handle. Is this guy teaching me alchemy, or is he messing with me? Is he taking revenge on me for giving him 0 points just now? Hurry up, do you dare or not? Qin Haodong shouted anxiously. Why wouldn't I dare? At most, we'll all die together. Hearing Qin Haodong's scolding, Fang Qiong was immediately enraged. She gritted her teeth and threw the 2 elixir that Qin Haodong had mentioned into the cauldron. As expected, after the rest of the elixir was thrown into the cauldron, the flames in the cauldron burned even more fiercely. The cauldron that was on the verge of collapse shook even more violently. Su Wujin was dumbfounded. What is this guy doing? Isn't this the legendary pouring oil on the fire? At this moment, the cauldron in front of him was obviously unable to withstand the heat anymore. Cracks appeared on the walls of the cauldron. Chapter 875. Qin Haodong didn't seem to notice what was happening in front of him. He continued, "Add 7-star grass, green toad flower." Fang Qiong had no choice but to follow Qin Haodong's instructions. She put the 2 herbs into the alchemy furnace without hesitation. She had no more herbs in her hands. The alchemy furnace boiled even more fiercely when the herbs were put into the furnace. Waves of heat twisted the air. Su Wujin's heart was in his throat. He was trying to think of a way to minimize the current loss. But at this moment he heard Qin Haodong shout, "Increase the fire!" Holy sh*T, is he a lunatic? Su Wujin wanted to rush over and cover Qin Haodong's mouth. How could he increase the fire at this time? Was he afraid that the alchemy furnace wouldn't be able to kill them? Increase the fire? Fang Qiong frowned. The alchemy furnace couldn't take it anymore. If she increased the fire, it would explode immediately. But after a moment of hesitation, she made up her mind. If the sky fell down, everyone would die together. She couldn't let this guy look down on her. Thinking of this, she immediately increased the fire in the alchemy furnace, according to Qin Haodong's instructions. With the surge of genuine qi, the fire in the alchemy furnace suddenly doubled. The scorching fire covered the entire alchemy furnace. Kacha! 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 Fang Qiong'er's alchemy furnace was just an ordinary one, not a divine artifact like the Shenong tripod. It was at the last moment of collapse. The cracks on the alchemy furnace suddenly increased, and the sound of cracking could be heard. Su Wujin's heart suddenly sank. It was really going to explode. With a loud bang, the alchemy furnace exploded. The broken pieces of the alchemy furnace shot out in all directions. Fang Qiong'er, who was pouring in the alchemy fire, didn't expect the explosion to happen so suddenly. She had no time to react, and could only close her eyes. I'm doomed. This guy is really going to kill me. Just when she thought that she was definitely going to die, she was surprised to find that the explosion was not as intense as she had imagined, even though she had felt the heat wave and the impact of the pill furnace fragments. Although she also felt the impact of the heat wave and the broken pieces of the alchemy furnace, it was nothing like the explosion of a 5th-grade alchemy furnace. What's going on? When she opened her eyes again, she found Qin Haodong standing in front of her, holding a jade bottle in his hand. He put the 9 nature pills that flew out of the furnace into the bottle. Although there's only 1 pill mark, it's still not bad. At least I didn't waste these medicinal ingredients. What? The explosion of the cauldron actually produced pills? And the kind with pill marks? Fang Qiong'er sat there in a daze, unable to believe what she had just seen. She even forgot to wipe the soot off her face. What was going on? Not only did it reduce the power of the cauldron explosion, it could also be used to refine pills. If this was said by someone else, she would not believe it even if they beat her to death. But now, the truth was right before her eyes. At this moment, Su Wujin walked over and asked Qiong'er with concern, "Are you all right?" "I'm fine." Fang Qiong'er came to her senses and jumped up from the ground. She grabbed Qin Haodong's arm tightly and cried, "How did you do it?" Seeing that the student was fine, Su Wujin was relieved. Then he asked curiously, "Yes, little Qin, how did you do it?" "It's a miracle." Qin Haodong smiled slightly and said, "It's just a small trick. The reason why the cauldron exploded was that the energy in the pills was out of control. If the energy could be channeled into the pills, the power of the cauldron explosion would naturally be much smaller, and the pills would not be damaged at the same time." Su Wujin and Fang Qiong'er were stunned. They were both alchemists, so they knew how dangerous it was. Theoretically speaking, it was reasonable, but when it came to the actual operation, it was extremely dangerous. One careless move, and they would be smashed to pieces. After a moment of silence, Fang Qiong'er suddenly said, "Junior, I want to worship you as my master and learn alchemy from you." Su Wujin was startled. He knew Fang Qiong'er's character very well. She was extremely arrogant and never took anyone seriously except herself. But now she wanted to worship this young man in front of him as her master, which showed that she had been completely convinced. His relationship with Fang Qiong'er was that of a teacher and a student, and it was more limited to the academy. In the traditional sense, they were not teacher and student. If Fang Qiong'er left Black Tortoise Academy, they would not have much contact. But it would be different if she became Qin Haodong's disciple. The traditional master-disciple relationship would be maintained for a lifetime. Qin Haodong was also a little surprised. Although the little girl in front of him was arrogant, she was completely convinced once she lowered her head. He said, "Senior Fang Qiong'er, you said I'm your junior. How can I be your master?" Fang Qiong'er said with a sincere face, "It doesn't matter. I think your alchemy skills are good enough to be my master." Qin Haodong waved his hand and said, No, I'm still a student. I have no intention of taking a disciple. If you want, we can practice more in the future." Well, Fang Qiong'er still wanted to say something, but Qin Haodong didn't give her the chance. He put the pills he had just put away from the cauldron into her hand and said to Su Wujin, "President Su, did I pass the test just now?" "Little Qin, your performance was perfect. From now on, you are a 5th-grade alchemist in our alchemist union. This is your medal." Su Wujin was completely convinced by Qin Haodong's performance. He immediately took out a 5th-grade alchemist medal from his storage ring and gave it to Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong took the medal and took out the creation elixirs he had refined. President Su, didn't you say you wanted to buy the elixirs I refined? Do you want to pay for them? No problem. Your creation elixirs are all third-grade elixirs with patterns. I'll buy them at the price of 400 top-grade spirit stones each. Here are 3,600 top-grade spirit stones. Take them. Mr. Su took out 3,600 spirit stones from his storage ring, put them into a small cloth bag, and gave it to Qin Haodong. At this time, Fang Qiong'er said, President, if it weren't for Qin Haodong's help, not only would I be seriously injured, but I wouldn't be able to take back the 9 creation elixirs. So these elixirs should be his. After that, she also gave the 9 creation elixirs that Qin Haodong had just given to Su Wujin. Su Wujin took the elixirs and said, First-grade creation elixirs with patterns are a little worse. I'll buy them at 300 top-grade spirit stones each. He took out 2,700 top-grade spirit stones and gave them to Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong was overjoyed. This time, he had not only obtained a 5th-grade alchemist medal, but also more than 6,000 top-grade spirit stones, which made him feel like he had become rich overnight. President Su, do you have a quiet room for me to use? I just had an epiphany when I was refining elixirs, and I want to make a breakthrough. Of course, this is the quiet room I use for daily practice. Since little Qin wants to use it, I'll lend it to you. Su Wujin took him to a quiet room next door, and then he and Fang Qiong'er went out of the room and closed the door. Qin Haodong set up a restriction in the room, took out all 6,300 top-grade spirit stones from his storage ring, and piled them in front of him. The quiet room was suddenly filled with rich spiritual qi. He sat cross-legged and rotated his nascent soul. The rich spiritual qi suddenly rushed into his body like 100 rivers flowing into the sea, and his cultivation quickly improved. As a master at the crossing calamity stage in his previous life, Qin Haodong did not have any inner demons or obstacles in the process of cultivation. As long as there was enough spiritual qi, he could improve his cultivation to a high enough level. In a short time, he had broken through the bottleneck of the soul formation stage and reached the early stage of the void training stage. He did not stop there, but continued to absorb the spiritual qi in the air. About 10 minutes later, there was another cracking sound in his body, and he reached the middle stage of the void training stage. Qin Haodong slowly opened his eyes. He had completed 2 breakthroughs in a row, and consumed a lot of spiritual qi. He wanted to see if these top-grade spirit stones were enough for him to continue, but when he looked at them, he was shocked. The 6,300 top-grade spirit stones that were piled up just now were almost used up, and only a few hundred were left. He counted them, and found that there were less than 300 top-grade spirit stones in total. He could not help but shake his head with a wry smile. He knew that this kind of cultivation consumed a lot of spirit stones, but he did not expect it to be to this extent. He was a rich man just now, but in the blink of an eye, he became a poor man again. These spirit stones could not be used anymore. He had to use them to buy medicinal materials to refine elixirs, and then exchange them for more spirit stones. He had just reached the middle stage of the void training stage, and he had used up 6,000 top-grade spirit stones. If he wanted to go further, he did not know how much more he would need. He had to prepare at least 10,000 top-grade spirit stones. Outside the room, Su Wujin asked Fang Qiong'er, "What happened when you were making elixirs? Why did the furnace suddenly explode?" Fang Qiong'er lowered her head and said embarrassedly, "Master, I was too competitive. When I saw that Qin Haodong had made the fortune elixir in advance, my mind was disturbed, so the furnace exploded." Su Wujin said, "Qiong'er, you are very talented, but your only shortcoming is that you are too arrogant. I have told you that there is always someone better than you. Have you seen it today?" "Yes, Master, I know I was wrong. Although Qin Haodong is younger than me, his attainments in alchemy are definitely much higher than mine. I will learn more from him in the future." Su Wujin nodded. "Qiong'er, little Qin was the one who personally taught you how to resolve the crisis. Can you tell me how he managed to pull the chestnuts out of the fire? when the furnace was on the verge of exploding, and successfully refined 9 nature pills? Master, I haven't fully understood it yet, so I can only tell you the process of the operation. The master and the apprentice stood outside the classroom and began to discuss the method that Qin Haodong had mentioned. It was easier said than done. The more they discussed, the more they felt that this operation was incredible. It was not something that ordinary people could do. Just as the two of them were having a heated discussion, the door of the quiet room opened, and Qin Haodong walked out. Qin Haodong, have you finished your cultivation so soon? Su Wujin was a little surprised. Generally speaking, it would take at least a few hours to make a breakthrough. Qin Haodong had only gone in for half an hour. Did he fail? Qin Haodong said, President, I have reached the void training stage. Can you let me take the test of a 6th grade alchemist? Qin Haodong deliberately said that he had reached the void training stage, but he didn't say that he had reached the middle stage of the void training stage. Otherwise, it would be hard to accept that he had broken through 2 levels in such a short time. What? You have made a breakthrough so soon. Even so, Su Wujin and Fang Qiong were still shocked. They looked at Qin Haodong as if he was a monster. When did breaking through the bottleneck become so easy? Qin Haodong said again. President Su, can you let me take the test of a 6th grade alchemist? Su Wujin had just said that all the tests today were free, including the use of medicinal materials. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.